Good morning, everyone. We're going live right now. Make sure that, of course, you subscribe, click the notification bell, and everyone like the video.
South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show.
A lot to talk about today.
Free. Dial 1-888 cocaine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
That's 1-888 cocaine. 1. And now,
Press 1 if you're new in the last month. Hey guys, welcome to the program. It is Thursday morning already, July 8th, 2021. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And man, do we have a lot to talk about on the radio today. Holy smokes, we got a lot to talk about on the radio today. And President Trump, he just came out yesterday and did just something wonderful for all of us. Jacqueline, $10 super chat. Everyone thank Jacqueline. And that is this class action lawsuit, which is probably going to end up being the largest class action lawsuit in the history of lawsuits against big tech. And this issue, it hasn't happened yet, okay, but it will happen. This issue is going to become the number one thing on the Republican Party platform in the next two elections, the midterms and the presidential election cycle. It's going to be that way. It's not that way yet because there's still a lot of these never-Trumpers running around in the Republican Party, like Romney and Cheney and never-Trumpers in disguise, Kevin McCarthy and others that don't want President Trump to be the face of the party. And they don't want his, the Republican Party platform needs a serious revamping. And this lawsuit of President Trump's is number one on that platform. And once we get through these primaries, right, and President Trump, who's targeting never-Trumpers and others, and we have Trump's candidates running in the midterms after the primaries, you're going to see them all talking about this. And the next 2 years after that is going to be all about it. And it's very, very important because there is a serious loss of freedom in this country. Now, I know a bunch of snowflake liberal people that are triggered by everything and think that their own personal emotions are more important than everybody else's constitutional God-given rights. But this is an issue that's really a bipartisan issue, right? It's a bipartisan issue because there are people that are not even interested in politics that are going to grab onto what President Trump is doing. There are people that are liberal that are going to jump on to what President Trump's doing. And, yesterday was a definite wake-up call for the left. Because look what happened. The big businesses of today that's big tech, right? Used to be GM and all that, but now it's big tech. Used to be big tobacco, now it's big tech. And President Trump has come out with this incredible class action lawsuit against the biggest companies and the richest people on the planet. People that are so wealthy, they make him look poor with his $10 billion, his measly $10 billion. And look what happens. The left are defending the big tech companies. And the left and the media have always framed the Republicans as the party of big business. And they're the party of the little guy who's fighting against big business. That's what unions are all about in these things. But all of a sudden, on a dime, the left-wing media and the Democrats yesterday, after President Trump's historic press conference, came out in defense of the wealthiest people on the planet Earth, and for that matter, the richest people in the known universe, and the biggest companies on Earth. There are more people on Facebook than there are Muslims in the world. And the left are defending these big companies. So who is the party of big business? Who's the party that's protecting big business? Well, it's the Democrats. It always has been the Democrats, by the way. They just, with this one, they've slipped and they've come out of the closet. And this is going to be huge. And, you know, and I know a lot of people they're talking about breaking up these companies. What? So we can have 15 instead of 3 liberal companies? No, that's not what President Trump is. Not about breaking up these monopolies. We'll just have a larger number of these left-wing people that are taking away our constitutional rights. That's not what Trump's about. And this I was so excited, and I was also surprised because yesterday on the show we were speculating on what President Trump's big announcement was, and I was surprised at what it was. I think most of you were too. I found out about 20 minutes before what he was going to announce. And I was also surprised at how organized his legal team is. He has a really strong legal team here on the constitutional issue of it, and that was impressive as well. And, you know, listen, you know, this industry that he's going up against is dominated by liberals at every level. And liberals believe that Donald Trump is a cult leader, a dictator, a deposed dictator, and a Nazi. And the left have always believed that Republicans are Nazis. I've been hearing this forever. And if you're going in their mind, you have to think like a liberal just for a minute here. I know it's tough and it might cause, you know, a headache. You might get a migraine trying to think like a liberal. But I want to share this with you just so you can understand their twisted position. They think that we are Nazis. They think Trump is Hitler. And a lot of other things too, worse than even that, if you can imagine. They literally believe that. They do. And in their liberal mindset, they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They think they are helping us and helping the country. Don't you get it? See, if you're going up against Nazis, they believe, you are justified in doing whatever it is you have to do to stop the Nazis or the Klan. And that's how they view MAGA. There'll be no deals, there'll be no concessions from them because, one, they feel as if they're gods and masters of the universe. And also, they have such strong liberal convictions. So that's another reason. There'll be no concessions, and this will go on for many, many years, and that's okay. Because in the end, President Trump will be victorious. Now, another thing, too, that press conference yesterday was so incredibly historic. There has never been a press conference like that ever in the history of America. And I'm not talking about the class action lawsuit announcement. When have you seen a former president of the United States have a press conference that millions of people around America and the world watched? Millions upon millions watched that. There has never been a former president in history who has had a press event that anyone followed. In fact, there's never been a former president who's had a press conference before. That was amazing that happened yesterday. Not only that, there's never been a former president who's come out with an initiative like that where they were able to take everything on, which he's done. We're in really, truly such a unique, historic time with President Trump. Now, Newsmax TV carried the entire press conference live, and that's where I watched it. One American News carried the press conference live, I understand. I didn't watch it there, but I understand they did. Don't be fooled by Fox News. Fox News carried it for a few minutes. Eric Bolling on Newsmax said they carried it for about 5 minutes. They carried it just so they could say they carried it, because they're feeling the heat from the competition over on Newsmax TV. But they really, that 5 minutes, it was a very long event with very good questions. And there were other, and he had the attorneys out there, including Pam Bondi, who we've had in studio on the Steve Kane Show, and a very embarrassing Steve Kane Show. It was a very strange Steve Kane Show when Pam Bondi was here. But Fox News carrying it for about 5 minutes, that doesn't cut it. Of course, CNN and MSNBC didn't carry it. I flipped over there, they weren't even referencing that it was going on. But millions still watched it. And millions have watched it since, because people are going and looking at it even after. And it's the talk of the nation, even if they're not airing it. Now, if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. We will get to the calls in just a bit after the first break. Our number is toll-free 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. And we do take calls live and screenless on the air. And I want to tell everyone, Mike Lindell is, absolutely amazing what he's doing. He has his rally coming up later this month, which we'll talk about it more as it comes along. And he's been with us here on the Steve Kane Show for a number of years. And before he was involved in politics, he was advertising with us on the Steve Kane Show. And there's, what he has done this year, he's lost about $70 million this year in sales by supporting Trump and getting kicked out of these big box stores. His merchandise were in all of these stores, and they tossed it out. $70 million in lost sales there. Can you imagine? That's absolutely insane. And on top of that, $70 million that Mike Lindell has lost, he has spent millions upon millions, tens of millions of his own money in his support of Trump. Whether it's for the launch and development of Frank's speech, his legal battles where he's going after people, he's being sued. He may be close to the $100 million mark total between losses and expenses in his defense of President Donald Trump. And there's no better way to support Mike Lindell by buying something from MyPillow.com. And, of course, support the Steve Kane Show at the same time by using the promo code KANE at checkout. KANE. I want to tell everyone about the MyPillow mattress topper. Whatever special you see at MyPillow.com, you can take advantage of with the promo code KANE. But I want to talk about the mattress topper because, everything that Mike Lindell produces is very high quality and will change your life, because even if you just get the MyPillow, which with the promo code KANE is at its lowest price ever at $29.98, it will change your sleep like you won't believe. You'll start getting a rested, comfortable night's sleep. And this MyPillow mattress topper is amazing. You hear my wife talking about how she was waking up with back problems. We got the mattress topper because of it. Boom. One night, back pain gone, and it hasn't returned. And I have just never in my adult life gotten sleep, rested sleep, a full night's sleep like I have since I've started sleeping on the MyPillow mattress topper. From the first night, I started waking up when my alarm went off. Not an hour before, not a half hour before, when my alarm wakes up. It's an absolutely amazing thing. And not only is it great for yourself, but it's great for your kids too. It comes in every size, from twin all the way up to California King and Split King. My wife and I, we have a queen size bed. We have the queen size. And with the promo code KANE, the MyPillow mattress topper, save 30%. And you get 2 free MyPillows. 30% you save and 2 free MyPillows. But you've got to use the promo code KANE at checkout, KANE. You can also order by phone, 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, KANE at checkout. We'll take our break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place.
Steve Kane Show. Hold on.
Eat
while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best
Treasure
part of
Life,
all is that Medicare pays for
why
this
give
visit.
Wheezy
So if you're a Medicare
the
recipient, give the Soul Authority a call
ego
today
boost?
at 954-597-7665.
After what she pulled yesterday, I'm thinking about discontinuing her participation in the show. I'm serious.
Brian Craig here. Advertising on the Steve Kane Show works. This is Scott, one of our sponsors from Cut My Kilowatts, talking about his experience advertising on the Steve Kane Radio Show. Hey Scott, how are you?
Oh, the Trump interview? Yeah, I saw it earlier. They ran it earlier. I saw it, yeah. Rob Schmidt.
Yeah. Started walking in. That's inside the clubhouse. That's when I turned it off. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
It's going to be a war.
Yeah, so we did her home yesterday, and then a gentleman, Darcy, just called in today and booked an appointment for next Friday.
The biggest thing is, the biggest point to get across to the Democrats, voting Democrats, the public, is how important it is.
Yeah.
He's advertising on 3 radio stations, and we're doing better for him than the other ones.
Exactly.
That's the Steve Kane Show right here. That makes me feel good. Oh, man. Increase your company's business.
Wesley, $5 super chat. Everyone thank Wesley.
Show, the Steve Kane Show. Call me directly or Steve Kane, 888-465-2631. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. 888-465-2631. And we'll be hearing about you and your business on the Steve Kane Show.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. 20 minutes after 6 o'clock in the morning. It is Thursday, July 8th, 2021. My name is Brian Craig. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. You're on the radio. What's your name?
It's PJ.
Oh, hey, PJ.
Well, guess what? I think today I'm going to find out, and I'm going to join that class action lawsuit.
Yeah, you and about 150 million others.
Less than an hour, just minutes after my...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. No one's done anything like this before. Trump's amazing. That press conference, no matter what the press conference was about yesterday, would have been historic. No former president has done anything like that, ever.
Presidential press conference, that really irked a lot of liberal outlets I was reading. They're really upset about that.
You know, he had a seal on the podium. And I couldn't see the bottom of it because the graphic cut it out. It said the office of, and I didn't see what it said at the bottom. Did it say, what did it say at the bottom? Does anyone know what the bottom of the seal said on the podium? Did you catch it? I don't know if it said the office of the former president, of the 45th president. I don't know what it said, but it did. You know, there was an incident that the press thought was exciting. When Obama was president, Bill Clinton visited the White House and had a joint press conference with Obama. And Obama was the president, and Bill Clinton elbowed him out of the way and took over the podium and started taking questions. And it looked like Bill Clinton had just taken over the White House, but that wasn't his own press conference, and the media just thought that was very exciting. Well, Trump's back.
Yeah, it really, I'm telling you, it really irked the media. Yeah, you got to take a look at these press accounts. They're calling it a Fox press conference, stuff like that.
Well, you know, listen, it's America. We have free speech, right? Anyone can have a press conference. People have press conferences all the time in front of podiums. He looks presidential for a reason, because he is. And I think what their biggest problem is with it is there's a compare and contrast with Biden. You see how Biden is. Yeah.
It's high energy.
Yeah, coherent versus dementia.
Yeah. It's and then it's getting worse. I'm sure you talked to. He had to pull out a piece of paper at they were asking him about the hacking or something, and he had to pull out a piece of
the cards out of the pocket. That tell him what to say. Yeah, I mean it is really bad, Hannity said yesterday he's no longer going to call him President Sippy Cup because it's not a joke anymore. It never was a joke, Hannity. I mean, this guy's got his finger on the button.
By the way, one other thing, have you noticed? They're not calling it, remember how they were calling it, they're insisting the Biden-Harris administration? You don't hear the Harris part too much.
Yeah, they dropped that, didn't they? Yeah.
Hey, yeah, that got to be too embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. All right, PJ, take care. Thanks for calling. All right, PJ's a good guy. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Good morning, Brian. It's Big C out of Paris, Texas.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to start calling you Chronic Big C. Go ahead, see if you're relevant to the conversation.
Is this going to go anywhere? That his rights have been taken away from him?
Well, yeah, it is going to go somewhere. Yeah, it's going to go. It's going to go through the federal court system all the way to the Supreme Court. Absolutely.
No, it won't.
Oh, okay.
They're one court system.
Oh, okay. Then you got nothing to worry about then.
Your First Amendment right is with the government, right? It isn't with companies. When you click that I agree button, you agree to what their policy is. Not
It's really this gets back to what I said at the top of the show. It's real interesting. Which is the party of big business, the Republicans or the Democrats? No, not both. Not both. The Democrat Party is and always has been the party of big business. The Republican Party is the party of small business, and it's so interesting. It's so interesting that, and you're not the first liberal, immediately after President Trump came out yesterday against the biggest companies on the planet today, the left, like trolls like this guy, immediately come out and defend the rights of these huge corporations. I thought the Democrats were for... You are too. You are too. Yeah, listen, you are. And another thing is what Trump said. Oh, I know, you're all of a sudden liberals are concerned with the Constitution. You mean the Constitution that was written to for the benefit of white people to maintain white supremacy? Isn't that what Obama calls it? But what President Trump and his what President Trump and his legal team yesterday talked about was how the tech giants have been working and colluding with the government on what is allowed and what is not allowed to be said and discussed and given out to the public. And that's when they cease to be a private entity and become, they're talking about public utility, whatever the courts will decide. And there is truth to that. Now, there is something that I have believed for a long time. I talked about this on my podcast last night about this very issue. I'm going to take some more calls, and it's just a little mental note because I want to share with you what's going to come out in this that no one, I don't think, has occurred to many people, unless you listen to my podcast and you heard last night's episode. Good morning, you're on the radio. No, but you know what? You're a step away from being banned from the program. You make a threat like that to me, you're history. You threaten me with something like that, you're on thin ice. That is your one warning. No, this is the thing with Big C. We love to take calls. We want to take calls from liberals. But here's the thing. I am not, and this goes for anyone. You'll hear me talk to Richie the bus driver about this all the time. I'm not going to let a caller hijack the show and the discussion in the direction that they want to take it in. Okay? I've got issues I'm going to talk about, and I've got a direction that I'm going to go in. And what Big C has been doing for this is the third day in a row. He calls in at about, he was on hold for about 20 minutes before I took the call. But he wants to call in and hijack the agenda of the program. But if you make a threat against me, you're history. That's your one and only warning. It happens again, that's it. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Hey, Brian, it's Jeff from Maine. How are you?
Hey, Jeff, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Okay. Hey, this is not about President Trump suing big companies and the CEOs. This is going to expose all of Obama's federal judge appointees that refuse to uphold the Constitution. They're going to everybody in America is going to see that they refuse to hold the Constitution, President Trump's constitutional right to be on a platform and to be heard.
Well, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to give you I used this example on my podcast last night. So I think this is a very good one. They have banned President Trump and many others because they've branded them dangerous rhetoric. And where they went over the line is when they banned President Trump, they did it while he was the sitting president of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief. I expected him to get banned after he left office. I saw it on the wall, writing on the wall, and I'm not alone. Everybody did. But they did it while he was still president. And not only did they do it while he was president, they did it while there was a crisis going on. Because if you remember, before the Capitol breach, which he had nothing to do with, the White House was attacked by Antifa and other leftists. Remember that evening they attacked the White House and took the first family to the bunker and everything? The Washington, D.C. had been under attacks for months. Remember the Rand Paul attack and others too in D.C. America was in a crisis, and the main form of communication today is social media. And during a crisis, they took the sitting president offline and made it so that he was unable to communicate with the American people in a time of a national emergency, which was the breach day. This is the example that I used on my podcast last night. The Cuban Missile Crisis, many people believe it's the closest we ever came to a nuclear conflict with the Soviet Union. Now, I wasn't alive then. All I know is from the movies and the history books. And it's romanticized because the liberals love Kennedy so much. But Kennedy escalated things very much so with the Soviet Union, with the blockade and other things, okay? And it was so bad that people were evacuating the Florida Keys and things like this because they were expecting war. There was no Twitter, there was no Facebook during the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Twitter of the day, the social media of the day was television. And President Kennedy was the first president to effectively use television to communicate with the American people, the world, and foreign leaders. And he did this through television. He was the first president to do this, just like President Trump was the first president to use social media as a means of communicating to the American people and to the world. If people decided that owned there were only three networks back then, right? ABC, CBS, and NBC. If the three network heads got together and thought that President Kennedy was ratcheting things up to such a degree with the Soviet Union that his rhetoric on their air could cause a nuclear conflict, what if they decided to pull the plug and not allow him to communicate on TV ever again, President Kennedy? That'd be dangerous because he's the President of the United States. And that is what they did to the sitting president, President Trump, the day of the breach. It's the same concept. And it's a very dangerous and frightening precedent that they set. Anyway, go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
The analogy of that to what happened with Trump and Big Tent is spot on. But remember when President Trump said, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you, we the people. I'm in their way. He is defending us, our God-given constitutional rights, and it's about our freedom. And when it comes down to it, it's good versus evil.
That's correct. And I'll tell you, there's this thing about the difference between government and a private entity. These companies have gotten so big, and what President Trump and his legal team were talking about yesterday is how they've been working with the government, which makes them a quasi-government entity and takes them beyond the private company. I believe the internet was created by the intelligence community, by the federal government, for all the purposes that we're seeing right now. This is why you guys should listen to my podcast, because on my podcast I get into more detail about things that I don't on the radio for different reasons. But I read a book about 15 years ago, which was the history of the NSA. And back in the Second World War, the federal government, what the main form of communication was other than telephone during the Second World War was telegrams. Well, radio, but telegrams. Individuals use telegrams, you know. Do you know that in the Second World War, the federal government had a deal with the telegram companies? There were only a couple of them, national telegram companies, and the federal government monitored every telegram that every person sent in the United States in the Second World War. They didn't even have computer technology back then, and somehow they were able to do it. Al Gore, so the government's always monitored whatever the main communication forms were of the day. Al Gore in the 2000 campaign said something that everybody laughed at, but it was really a slip. He said, "I invented the internet." And people thought, oh, what a delusional joke. But he wasn't, well, there's truth to it. I didn't realize it until I read this book on the history of the NSA. I bought this book at Barnes & Noble, you know, so it wasn't like some secretive book. And this wasn't about the internet. It was about the NSA, and it got me thinking in a different way when I read that thing about how they had all the telegrams. Prior to the internet, the federal government had the first version of the internet. It was called the intranet, T-R-A, instead of intranet. And the intranet is what was turned into the internet. And the intranet is how the government, exactly, yeah, I do too. It was all in DOS and everything. I believe that the government did create the internet, like Al Gore said. I think he slipped in 2000. And they have all of these things to control us, control the messaging and forms of communication. I mean, look, you know, I have an Alexa in every room of my house, including one even in the bathroom, in our master bathroom. And your Alexa device is, everybody's house is bugged, you know, and you've heard Snowden talk. So I believe that all of these internet companies have always been the government, always.
I want to say one more thing about when you engage the liberals. That's one thing I've learned from you, Brian, is I can't shout them down. I need to let them talk, but then show them when we try to give our opinions or our beliefs, they try to shut us down, and then that's not the American way. We need to engage liberals to understand that the government's shutting down the conservative speech, which is unconstitutional.
Well, listen, on this program, we let every political opinion out there, whatever your background is. But what he did, he threatened me with something, and I'm not going to let that fly. Now, he was in a fit of anger and he said something, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But that was his one and only warning. And there's somebody else. I'm not going to mention their name or who they are or reference it right now. But there's somebody else that has been on this program recently that's on thin ice too, who went way over the line. And I found out something last night about someone that's been calling this program that has gone way the hell over the line. But there are boundaries, you know, and I can't turn over the radio show to someone, especially someone who crosses lines and makes threats. So, you know, but I understand people get upset, they don't know, and I'm in for second chances, and I gave him a warning, but that's the only one he's going to get, and he is really on thin ice. And it's unfortunate because I don't mind, I enjoy liberals calling the program. I want to have liberals listen to the program because I think, you know, the liberals on this program, this week in particular, have been just totally out of control, and that's because they're losing. And they're losing the argument in the public square about every issue, and they're having meltdowns over it. And that's fine. And I love to have dialogue, but this is a radio show, and you can't call in and hijack the discussion into another direction. You know,
become a better person debating and discussing with liberals because I've listened to your show.
Oh, I appreciate that.
3 years.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for what you do.
I appreciate it. All right, Jeff, I mean, got to run for a break. Thanks for the call. 38 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Tom Laporta, the owner of Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Restoration.
Steve Kane Show.
In the roofing and construction industry since 1982. We are state of Florida certified roofing and general contractors focusing.
Well, you're not going to hijack the show.
Roofing, impact windows, and building restoration.
Every call ends in a hang up.
Is upon noticed any water stains on your ceiling, or if your roof...
Well, you can call in tomorrow. It's one call per day.
Call us to come
And you're not entitled to a particular amount of time. You know, every call in's a hang. You can call in tomorrow. All right? What?
Asphalt shingles, clay,
well, no, I'm busy. I don't have time to talk off the air. Well, fine. Well, call in tomorrow. Call in tomorrow. It's one call a day. You can call in tomorrow. All right?
That number is 954.
Okay. Call in tomorrow. I got to run. Oh, my goodness.
It's here, the hot weather. It's in the mid-90s in the middle of the day, and that's what the actual temperature is. The heat index, much higher than that. That means your air conditioner is going to work harder and harder, driving up your electric bill. And on the line, we have Scott from Cut My Kilowatts, who's going to save you big, big money on your electric bill. Tell them how you're going to do it, Scott.
Hey, Brian. Well, we do it with the radiant barrier installation and making sure that none of your air conditioning ducts are leaking into your attic. But I have Rebecca on the
Why do I need Alexa in the bathroom? That's a good question. I got to ask my wife. She put the Alexa in the bathroom.
Attic package for her at her house on Wednesday of this week, and
I think there's one in the bathroom, because the one in the bathroom is that little dot, and we got like a new one with the screen on it in the bedroom, so we had like an extra one. So she put the extra one in the bathroom.
Were very, very polite, and they did the work. It's a very difficult job to go up in an attic, pull out all the old ducts, come in and put in all new ducts. It's extra additional ducts to make my system work better.
No, that was Big C I was talking to off the air. I told him to call back tomorrow.
So I'm familiar with what the cost should be and how much time it takes to do everything.
One call per day.
I was very impressed, and my attic looks like a spaceship up there with all new ducts. They took out the metal duct that was insulated and leaking on my ceiling.
Oh, I don't sing in the shower. I'm not in the shower long enough to sing. Steve Kane Show.
In the industry.
Hey. It's what my dad used to call Marine Corps showers. In and out. I'm quick.
The old ductwork and install new ductwork, and I got everything for less than what I thought.
Well, that's amazing.
You can listen to my podcast on Alexa. Watch it. Alexa, play the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'll get everybody's device playing it.
Floor to heat that's well over 100 degrees in your attic off of your air conditioning ducts, which means your air conditioner works less to keep your house
Yeah, we have that too.
and comfortable for you, which means
lights,
you have
fan,
electrical bills. It works. Listen, guys, give Scott at Cut My Kilowatts a call. His number
once a Marine, always a Marine. Yeah, my dad is a Marine. You never stop being a Marine.
Which rings directly to him. 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500. That's Scott from Cut My Kilowatts.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we are back. 42 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Richie. Hey, Richie.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. You know, that the president yesterday, I'm going to explain to people out there, this is what I take on it, and I think you're a genius, because what you've said so far is right on the time. I'm not computer illiterate. I'm basically computer illiterate. I wouldn't know how to put two wires together. Like if I was in the studio with you on the board like what you used to do, the radio station would have never got on the air. And I'm like Steve, basically, when it comes to technical stuff. But I do listen to everything. And I like to be able to listen to everything and get both sides of any kind of discussion. And when one side is completely cut off from the other side, that's not just not fair. That's taking the country over. I mean, because to keep the people, the population in the dark is their goal. When they could put Ayatollah Khomeini on a website, I don't know how all Americans aren't outraged that President Trump was cut off at any time, or any other conservative, as long as he stays within bounds. Who are they to determine what's dangerous and what's not? And then they let Ayatollah go through when all these other people...
Well, it's what President Trump said. Hamas is on Twitter. They're a terrorist organization. They attacked Israel a couple weeks ago with rockets.
Absolutely. And so is the cartels, and so is everybody else. This is really crazy. listen, this is for our country, and the press, oh, they're so bad. All they do is, oh, he don't have a chance with this lawsuit. Tired of these people lying right through their teeth. They have no scruples. It's all a part of the same thing with that school teacher, the head of the union, getting up there saying that we're not teaching this stuff when we all know they are. Critical race theory. He's in denial. And
well, you know, this thing, I'll get back to this thing with the free speech issue. You know, the First Amendment covers the government limiting your speech, and what has happened is these organizations have been working for the government and with the government. I believe they are the government and always have been, as I said before the last break. But I've believed that for a long time. I just don't talk about it a lot. But people think I'm crazy and paranoid and everything. But it is true. And you know the thing is, if there's something online, there's a lot of things online that I don't want to see or deal with. I just don't go to it. I don't listen to it. You know, they don't need to do this censorship, because you can, like for example, in my YouTube live chat, there's an option in there. Sometimes there'll be a person in there that annoys the chat room. As a viewer of my YouTube channel, if you're in the chat room, you can block someone so you don't see them. I still do, everybody else does, but you can individually block them so you're not exposed to whatever it is they're saying. And that's fine. That's fine. But what we have here is we have these big companies working with government to block out an entire political movement that's about 80 million strong in this country. That's the MAGA movement.
When you're in a battle in the service, for example, because you weren't in the service, the first thing the enemy wants to do is cut off communications between soldiers. And that's the same thing that's happened here. They want to cut off our communication with each other and the ideas that we're talking about. I mean,
well, look at what happened. Now, what happened with President Trump with the breach. Not only there was a crisis going on with that breach, okay? That breach was wrong. Not everybody in it, it was not an insurrection. No one's been charged with insurrection. A lot of the people I know were allowed in. A lot of the people were in the crowd and kind of went in with the crowd, didn't know what was going on. A lot of people, you have to walk when you're in a crowd like that so you don't get stuck. I know there's, I don't want to get into the minutia of it, but there was a crisis going on. And not only was the President of the United States cut off from communicating online, if you remember after that, even while he was still the president, the television networks wouldn't carry him when he spoke. Remember, because they said he could incite another attack.
That was their.
How many times did they go over and interview Bin Laden and put him on TV?
Also, I must apologize to you because this is really another heartfelt apology, and everyone out there has to listen to this one. Sometimes I doubt some of the things you don't say, okay? And it's not what you say, it's what you don't say. And now I understand 150% with that couple from Alaska, what they did to them. You know about that one, don't you?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Their airplanes, they went through their luggage, they checked them for bombs, they were following them around. That's the FBI on people that were not even in the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's terrible. Look, I don't know, you saw that breakout on Laura Ingram's show, she was shocked.
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens. All right, Richie. Yeah, all right, Richie, I got to run. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our last break of the first hour, and we'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Hi, Brian Craig here. I'm in studio with my wife, Kathy, and she's here to tell you about her experience with the MyPillow mattress topper.
Well, as you know, Brian, I was waking up in pain almost every morning for years and years, and we had bought a new mattress not that long ago, but it still was not doing the trick, so I said
I'm wearing
to
a
you,
brace on my leg. I don't know if I can show you guys.
Let
Let me see if I can show you.
Difference. And I have to tell you, after sleeping on it just one...
I can't really show you because I hurt my knee. Hold on.
It made a huge difference for me. And the pain has not returned.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Let me see. I can move the camera down. Hold on, move the camera down.
And do what
Say, I got this brace on. My knee, it's like...
KANE. And this is an
Oh my
incredible deal
gosh.
because with the promo code KANE, you will save 30% off the MyPillow mattress topper and
I
get
tore
2 free MyPillows. But you've got
some
to use
ligaments
the
or
promo
something
code
in my
KANE at
leg.
checkout. KANE. It comes in every size too.
I tore some ligaments or something in my leg.
King. That's promo code KANE.
Sucks.
KANE at mypillow.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It is 10 before 7. Back to the phones. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hi, Brian. This is Verlanda.
Hey, Verlanda.
I just wanted to say that Donald Trump announcement yesterday, I would be honest with you, I'm not surprised at all. As a matter of fact, I'm glad he's doing it. He's doing this, to me, in the tradition of Theodore Roosevelt, because he had a bone to pick with Standard Oil. And see, he understands this is the battle, the mother of all battles. And the big tech right now, they are overstepping their bounds 1,000%. I mean, they are literally in the bag for the government of the United States. Whether it's Joe Biden or anyone who is on the other side.
Well, it's funny you mentioned President Roosevelt, Franklin, not Teddy. His main means of communication to the American people was radio, with the fireside chats. Radio was the Twitter of the day. And, and he used that radio to drive us into the Second World War. What if the big radio companies, because then it was the same networks, NBC and all that stuff, said, you know what? This is dangerous. We're going to go to war with the Germans over this. And they cut Roosevelt off. See, here's the thing, Verlanda. Okay, there's a lot of things in play here, but there has never been an organized conservative activist group in this country, and conservatives, for the very first time, it started with Facebook groups with Obama in 2010, but in the past 10 years, for the first time in our history, conservatives have been organized protesters and activists. It used to just be liberals. Right, and they can't handle that, and they've been in a panic over this for 10 years, and they're trying to stop conservatives. Conservatives are too busy to show up at meetings in person because they got families and jobs.
But see, I'm thinking of Theodore, because Theodore was the one that said, Standard Oil's got to stop it. Okay, they are overstepping their bounds. They need to be broken up. This is an antitrust issue.
Yeah.
I see Trump saying pretty much the same thing. I am so glad that he commenced this lawsuit, because we need someone of his stature. We need someone of his knowledge. Because, Brian, we all saw this man was trying to communicate with us, and people like Neil Cavuto was turning down the volume. We had people like Don Lemon.
Well, I remember President Trump was about to speak, and Neil Cavuto, we must turn down the audio because Donald Trump could instigate another. He was the president of the United States. May instigate another insurrection, so we cannot carry this.
I'm like, who are they to say what we can and cannot hear? I said, because the American people, once you show them something, we make very good decisions. Okay, we'll censor you ourselves, but you have no right as the news media to do it for us. You cannot do it for us, and when you do, you become a dangerous entity. And that's what these people are becoming. We're finding out, Brian, and I'm not going to go into too much, we're finding out their roles in elections.
Well, you know, when the Capitol breach happened, I'm so angry at all those people, the Viking and everybody, because I've talked about this before, and people get upset with me. When I saw that happening, I knew we were screwed forever. Because until the day I die, they're going to be, and well, even after I'm gone, but for the rest of my life, all I'm going to hear from the left is that Capitol breach day. You know, Antifa attacked the White House not long before that. You know, that where's that? And 60 to 80 Secret Service people were injured in that Antifa attack on the White House, where they had to take the first family into the bunker. First attack on the White House since the War of 1812, to my knowledge, and it happened not long before the breach. But when that breach happened, I'm so angry, and I understand what Tucker's reporting is true and how it happened, but nobody could have convinced me to go in that building, and I knew that what they were going to do with that.
But see, Brian, what they did was the other side played into the natural emotions of people. They knew that they were going to want to go in there. They were going to want to tell some people off. They were going to want to go in there and somewhat be obstructive, but on the other side. They play into the natural emotions of human beings.
Yeah.
And a lot of MAGA, as far as I'm concerned, just like you were angry and really, really disgusted at them for doing it, they fell into the trap.
Yes.
Trap. That was the lure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad this president is, and he's not the former president.
I never hear them call Obama former president. It's always President Obama, President Clinton, President Bush. All right, Verlanda. Look, Verlanda, I gotta run, but thanks for the call. Okay, good morning. You're on the radio.
Hi, yes. My name is Sandra from Indiana.
Hey, Sandra, what's up?
Well, I just had a good idea, and I have just one other thing to tell you. What is to stop cell phone companies from starting to censor people's cell phones on what they look up on their device?
Well, you know what? It's a good thing you make that point. Greg Kelly on Newsmax TV. He's on Newsmax TV weeknights at 7. And he oftentimes uses a very great analogy because what you're talking about with the big tech, you've got these guys running it that are the developers of it, the inventors of it. And he said, could you imagine if Thomas Edison denied the electric light bulb to people that he didn't agree with politically? No electric light for you. I don't like your politics. Or Alexander Graham Bell, no telephone for you. I don't like your politics. You can't communicate over the telephone. I don't like what you have to say. I mean, it's crazy. Because these social media companies are the modern day telephone.
Because it seems like about every month I get an update on my phone.
Do you know what people's phones, their cell phones, do you know what they're used the least for?
The least for talking on, because
the cell phones, they're used. Yeah, the least thing that is used on a cell phone is the actual phone capabilities. I talk to basically two people on the cell phone: Steve Kane and my wife. Everybody else is text and email and messages. I don't really talk on the phone that much. I actually, my daughter had an appointment yesterday. I had to remind her about it. I called my daughter on the phone. She was in shock. Why are you calling me? Why don't you text me? You know what I mean? I said, because I wanted to make sure that you got my message. I figured she thought there was an emergency because I actually called as opposed to texting. But could you imagine if Alexander Graham Bell say he was a Democrat, and Republicans, I don't agree with your politics. No telephones for Republicans. Well, it sounds absurd, but that's what they're saying with social media.
Yeah. The only other thing I have to mention, if you watch Tucker Carlson, they're burning down churches in Canada, and that is a form.
Well, the Canadians deserve what they're getting because, you know, in the Great American Revolution, the 13 colonies that ended up becoming the United States were not the only British colonies in the Americas. Canada was a colony too, and they chose not to join us. And because of that, they had no Declaration of Independence. They have no Constitution. They have no Bill of Rights, and they screwed up. They're a bunch of loyalist redcoat lovers up there. If they would have joined, the 13 colonies, they wouldn't have their churches shut down right now. They'd be like us, free.
Well, if that starts happening over here, I guarantee you will be having a lot of people.
It will not well, during the pandemic last year, there were pastors who were arrested for having church services. I never thought I'd see it in America.
Right. But if they start burning churches over here, then...
Well, burning the churches, I don't know about the Canadian story, but back in the 90s, there were a whole bunch of black churches burning down in America. I don't know if you remember this. Yeah, there was a big thing of churches being burned down, black churches being burned down in America when Clinton was president. And Clinton even spoke at the NAACP convention, and they had a charred 2x4 in front of him that they supposedly was from a burned church, but probably somebody went to Home Depot and got a blowtorch out, you know. But it turned out that there was not a rash of arsons against the churches, that some of them were having electrical fires, a lot of them was insurance fraud to get a new church, and there were a couple of them were actually struck by lightning that caused fires. So I don't know what the story is in Canada, but I know when there have been stories in America of churches being burned en masse, that most of it was insurance fraud and other things, you know. So I don't know. I don't know about the Canadian story to speak. I'm just telling you what happened in America when that's happened in recent years.
Right. Well, I hate, to say it, but I've read history, and all your problem with African Americans always stems from Democrats.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey, listen, appreciate the call, Sandra in Indiana. Okay, 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Indeed it is. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be right back.
We've got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane Radio Show. Tom called in on the radio to tell us about his experience with Champagne Automotive.
Hi, this is Tom from Tamarack.
Hey, Tom from Tamarack, what's up?
I just want to tell you guys something. I spent the last 2 days trying to get brakes for my car. I was leaving the house yesterday to go try another place that had a lower price. They wanted $800 for the brakes. And that advertisement came on for Champagne. I live in Western Tamarack. I said, let me take a drive up there. Well, I was almost blown over at how friendly, honest, old school these people are.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously wanted $800. He says, well, you need to change your power steering fluid. And Ed, the owner, put the car up on the lift, pulled the wheels, because you don't need brakes. And I about fell over.
Wow. Well, tell me the end of the story. You got me hooked.
So it wasn't that your vehicle was misdiagnosed at the other place. You were dealing with a crook.
Oh, absolutely. This guy wanted to sell me everything but a washing machine. I don't want that.
Now, this is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack. They're crooks. And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca off Spanish River Boulevard, immediately west of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, call 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE-1. And now, here's Steve Kane.
All righty. Welcome back, everyone. 4 minutes after 7, I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio. Since 1977, hour number 2 has begun. We're talking about this great move of President Trump's very historic event yesterday. I'm going to start bringing up some other things. But I tell you, yesterday afternoon, I went with my daughter. I took her to get her nails done. She got a mani-pedi. And I got a manicure, which is the second time in my life I've had a manicure. And I got a couple questions. Why are all the nail people like Asian ladies and men? I don't understand. I don't know what language they're speaking. I don't know if it's Vietnamese or Chinese. I don't know what they're speaking. But why is this like such an Asian business? I don't quite get that. I'm just kind of curious about that. But I got my manicure. And again, this is only the second time I've had a manicure in my life. I just did it because I was there with my daughter. I said, what the heck? And the manicurist asked me something. Do any of you guys get manicures? The manicurist asked me a question that really kind of shocked me. And I'll throw this out to you. Guys must do this. She asked me if I wanted clear polish on my nails after my manicure. I said no. Don't want any clear polish on my nails. Is this something guys do? Do guys get nail polish, clear nail polish on their nails? Do I look like a guy that wants to have his nails polished? I'm wearing a Trump shirt. You know? Do I look like a guy that wants his nails polished? Do you guys get your nails polished when you get manicures? And I must tell you, the whole manicure thing seems highly overrated. I could have done this myself. But, yeah, well, you know, it's an experience. But this nail polish thing just really kind of shocked me. Okay, now, I saw this story this morning in the New York Post. A New Jersey Congressman, Andy Kim, has donated the suit that he wore during the Capitol breach. He's donated the suit that he's a member of Congress from New Jersey. He is donating his suit that he wore the day of the breach to the Smithsonian. They have 2 photographs of him, one of him picking up water bottles off the floor of the Capitol, and another one of him holding the suit. And what an arrogant guy and a twisted thing. This is in the New York Post. New Jersey Representative Andy Kim is donating the suit he wore during the U.S. Capitol riot to the Smithsonian. He did this on the 6-month anniversary of the attack. The Democrat explained in a lengthy Twitter thread that he agreed to bestow the blue J. Crew suit to the Smithsonian because of the events of January 6th must never be forgotten. While some try to erase history, I will fight to tell the story so it never happens again, Kim wrote. A photo of the congressman wearing the suit while cleaning up litter behind on the January 6th mayhem at the Capitol was shared widely at the time. So he's got a garbage bag and he's picking up water bottles, so what is it? What, we had litter bugs go in there and drop their water bottles? And I'll tell you, it's an interesting thing about these water bottles. Okay? Now, the day of the Capitol breach, there's some strange footage going on, and there's something strange about this guy's water bottles that he's picking up. By the way, is that the worst damage they did? Is they littered? Now, I don't litter. Pretty big deal. And I guess you can be heavily fined for littering on federal property, but it's not a capital offense. And it's the suit. You can go. I tweeted this story today, so you can go and see it. But this is something I'm a little suspicious of about these water bottles. And I'm seeing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 water bottles I can see in the picture that he's picking up. And and the water bottles all have caps on them. They all have caps on them. Not one of them is without a cap. I'm wondering, how did these water bottles get on the ground where he's picking them up? If we have these out-of-control rioters and insurrectionists going through the Capitol, they take the time to, every time they take a sip of water, to put the cap back on. It seems like a strange thing to be doing in time of chaos. I'm just questioning whether or not these water bottles were thrown on the ground of the U.S. Capitol by the MAGA people who were trespassing, because there's a cap on every water bottle. It just seems a little strange, doesn't it? They care so, they're littering all over the place. These damn litterers. We must never allow littering to happen again in the Capitol. You know, you got to look for some of these subtle things. Like, remember the Charlottesville incident? The so-called white supremacist rally? They had these white supremacists who came up to Black Lives Matter with Nazi flags and Klan flags. Do you remember this? And I pointed this out at the time because I noticed something about the flags that no one else noticed. And you can go back online and look at video of the Charlottesville incident where the so-called white supremacists confront the Black Lives Matter people. And in particular, the white supremacists with the Nazi flags. The Nazi flags and the Confederate flags they were holding had creases in them. Little square creases throughout the entire flags. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you the flags were brand new and just taken out of the package. Okay? Yeah. Nazis and white supremacists, when they go to an event, they take the flag off the wall of their bedroom with them. It's been hanging up there for years. They take the flag out of the back of their truck and they take it with them. These guys in Charlottesville, they had creases in the flags because they didn't take flags with them. Somebody gave them these flags and they opened them up out of... Now, by the way, I did not get my nails polished. I said no. I got a manicure, but no polish. I won't tell you what I told my daughter about it because I can't say I used some words I wouldn't use on the radio. But anyway, you can wonder what I said to her about why I didn't do it. The flags had creases in them, which means they weren't their flags. And I was even saying at the time, you know, all those tattoos, I'd like to see somebody go up there with some spray cleaner and see if those tattoos are real. And the same thing with this guy picking up the water bottles after the Capitol attack. If you've got insurrectionists, why is every single water bottle that he's picking up that were left behind by the evil, Lego-loving insurrectionist have a cap on it? Huh? It's very strange, isn't it? Oh, boy. All right, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. You're on the radio. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Brian.
Hey, Andrea. What's up?
So, two things. I wonder, were the water bottles full? Meaning...
There's water in some of them. Some of them are empty. But all of them have the caps on them. And it just, to me, when people are committing an insurrection, you know, the cap, making sure the cap's back on the bottle and everything, that's something liberals do when they throw their water bottles away. What I'm wondering is, did these water bottles come from the recycling bin and get dumped on the floor?
Exactly. But also insurrectionists don't walk in, you know, perfect order through velvet ropes.
Yeah, that was another one too. In fact, when I saw that, it's almost comical. You see them walking. When they go through the rotunda, they have those velvet ropes like they have at the banks. I guess they really don't have them at banks as much as they used to, but you know what I'm talking about. And these so-called insurrectionists in this huge open-air rotunda are walking in a perfect line with the velvet ropes. Makes no sense.
Also, I'm thinking if you're, causing an insurrection, you're not going to stop and take selfies, right? So if your goal is insurrection, you're just not.
Yeah, and another thing insurrectionists usually have with them that not one of these so-called insurrectionists had is a weapon. There were no weapons. And the only person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt by, this Capitol cop, apparently.
Well, it's all very interesting and all very fascinating. And it's going to be a very big witch hunt by Nancy Pelosi, sponsored by Liz Cheney. So my bone of contention is with the Republican Party, pretty much as a whole, because they should be lobbying to have these people who have been arrested and now detained for trespassing, which means they're essentially not even following the law of the land. Why are the Republicans not demanding that these people...
Yeah, and there's another thing, too. Listen, the breach was wrong. I know I say that all the time. It was wrong, okay? I wouldn't have gone in the building. And I know some people were forced in the building because when you're in a crowd like that, if you don't go with the crowd, you get stomped on. I get that. But there's still a thing in this country called due process. And... a lot of these people are being held in solitary confinement like they're Al-Qaeda terrorists or something. They are not getting their due process. Their right to a speedy trial is not being granted them. And my first thought was they were timing these trials. They could have MAGA on trial and 200 trials at once going on. I think now they're afraid to go to trial because of what's being revealed about what really happened.
I tend to agree with you, but let's just call a spade a spade. These are political prisoners held by the Democratic Party. That's what they really are. They're political prisoners held by the Democratic Party.
Well, yeah, going in, it was a crime to go in there, and people committed different levels of crime. And these guys going through the desks of the senators and everything and sitting in Pence's chair in the Senate, I believe those people should be charged and prosecuted. Okay? Yeah?
What I would also like to point out before I get to your manicure is throughout the years, there were a bunch of unhinged women banging on the doors of Congress during the Kavanaugh.
Well, remember when Kavanaugh was sworn in, those lunatic girls dressed in the Handmaid's Tales costumes were trying to rip the doors off of the Supreme Court building?
And holding Congress members hostages in the elevator.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Let's not forget the two women who, one was released by Obama, that bombed the Capitol building.
And if you want to really talk about the insurrectionist, the Democrats have always been the insurrectionist. They not just did they start the Civil War, a Democrat killed President Lincoln, right? A leftist lunatic shot President Garfield. A leftist shot President Kennedy, if you believe the main story of Oswald. John Wilkes Booth was like he was like the Alec Baldwin of the day, right? He was a big famous actor of the stage, So, the leftists have always been doing these things, and they're blaming. We have some people that do one thing that was stupid, and the only person that got killed was one of our people. Ashley Babbitt, she was MAGA, come on, and 80 million of us are defined by what a couple hundred were involved in.
Well, here's the thing: you have to look at the broad overview of the MAGA movement. So Trump has held numerous rallies with hundreds of thousands of people, and there has never been a problem. What you saw on January 5th, while I do not agree that people going in, for as much as I totally despise Nancy Pelosi, going into her office and putting your feet up on her desk, they should absolutely be charged.
Absolutely. No doubt.
However, there are just too many things for me that do not add up. Like, why did Nancy Pelosi, the Sergeant of Arms, have reported to her numerous times?
Well, I don't want to go through all the things, but yeah, there's all kinds of questions. Now, what was it? Because I got to go to a break, but what about my manicure did you want to comment on?
So here's the thing. There are a lot of CEOs that get manicures because it's a part of, like, the final presentation. And the reason when I asked you if you wanted clear polish was normally in a proper manicure for a man, they take this white paste out and they buff your nails. So,
yeah, they did. They did buff my nails. Yeah, they did buff my nails.
But that's why they asked you if you want the clear polish, is to keep the shine that's buffed on your nails.
No, please. I'm not going to say on the air what I said to my daughter, but my daughter said, "Why didn't you let her polish your nails?" And I said there's a particular kind of man that gets their nails polished, and I'm not that.
The fluffy little kitten.
No, that's not what I said. But you guys can think, you can ponder what I said. And she said, "Oh, thinks I'm a homophobe." But no polish for me.
So good for you for taking your daughter, because more dads should do that. They absolutely should.
Yeah, no, it was fun. We had an experience. The nail salon. Why are all the manicurist Asian ladies?
Well, believe it or not, that's a really huge business. That's a very big business. And probably the reason why is because it's very easy to get a license.
I don't know about that. I'm kind of wondering, a lot of it, they do take debit cards and credit cards, but they like cash. I'm just wondering if it's like the Chinese mob, because they like cash is king in these nail places, I've noticed. It's like a big mob operation to launder.
There is a lot of, just like laundromats, it's a lot of money. There could be a lot of money laundering, but also the amount of hours it takes to become a nail tech versus, like, a hairdresser or cosmetologist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
Get out and get to work quick.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Again, this is only the second time I've had a manicure in my life, and the last time I don't really remember it that well. But this, I couldn't believe all the different chemicals and things. There's a lot that goes into it. I was surprised.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, I don't know. I better move on. Steve's gonna kill me if I keep talking about manicures. But anyway, I don't think real men get their nails polished with clear nail polish. I'm sorry. I just don't. I barely understood her when she asked, so I came close to getting it done, because between the heavy accent and the mask she was wearing behind the plexiglass shield, I couldn't really understand her, and but then I caught her just in time as she was getting ready to put the polish on my nails.
Give good money to watch that exchange.
Oh, no. Yeah. All right, take care, Andre. Take care. If you're on hold, don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back. I'm Brian. You're listening to, that's right, The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be back right after this.
My name is Tom Laporta, the owner of Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Restoration. We have been in the roofing and construction industry since 1982. We are state of Florida certified roofing and general contractors focusing on residential and commercial roofing, impact windows, and building restoration. The 2021 hurricane season is upon us. If you have noticed any water stains on your ceiling, or if your roof is older than 15 years, you will want to call us to come out and evaluate your roof. Our services run from minor repairs to complete new roof systems. We install every kind of roof, from regular asphalt shingles, clay or concrete tiles, standing metal seam, wood shakes, and slate tile systems. Call us at 954-604-4602 for a free home inspection and estimate. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
Now that things are opening up again, employers are hiring. Need a drug test before your job interview? Stop by Any Lab Test Now of Boca or Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs and get tested. No doctor's order needed. No appointment necessary. Just walk right in. No insurance? No problem. Because they offer the lowest prices on all their thousands of lab tests. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is located in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsborough, on the east side of 441 State Road 7. Call 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall in Coral Springs. Call 954-906-5983. Make sure to tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, 23 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977. You're on the radio. What's your name? Good morning, caller. Once. Twice. All right, good morning. You're on the radio. Hey, Doug.
You know, that lawsuit he put on, fantastic, you know, but then, you know, everybody says that Trump, what used to be senile and the dementia, but yet see how fast he was. As soon as the teleprompter didn't say the right thing, he quickly said, Facebook stuff.
Are you talking about the people that weren't there because of the flight delay? Yeah. No.
He didn't know. The person running the teleprompter didn't correct that note. But anyway, how fast he was.
You know, I was really upset because, you know, if he had that at his resort in New Jersey, if he had that press conference, you know, he winters in Florida at Mar-a-Lago, and then he's up there during the summer. If he would have had that press conference at Mar-a-Lago, I would have been there in person. And I really got upset because when the press conference was over, he invited all of the press, no matter who they were, in for drinks at the resort. And I'm like, man, I would have been there with him at Mar-a-Lago for that. I would have had drinks with the president, and I missed out. I know, President Trump. And I got to do that at Mar-a-Lago, man.
I'm telling you, I've been saying, you know, when you donate, I guess you probably know, when you donate to the president, you get these emails all the time and surveys and questionnaires. Every time they say, anything else you want to say to the president? I would say, sue social media. They can't be stopping you to say what you have to say.
Well, that press conference really made Biden look bad yesterday because, you know, you saw what a real press conference was like as opposed to a aging dementia sufferer like Joe Biden. Yeah.
He's codependent.
If we went to a meeting of the Homeowners Association at one of the senior communities here in South Florida, the president of that homeowners association would be more coherent than Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, he's really in bad shape. You know, but he's better than Kamala Harris. I tell you that. You know, but we're in trouble.
Well, what does that mean? I mean, you know, better than Kamala Harris. All right, Doug, take care. You're on the radio. Good morning. Oh yes, Liberal Al the John. Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said all Trump-wearing people who go to nail salons get offered nail polish. So, you know. Anyway, I guess that joke fell flat.
Like all your other jokes. Yeah,
150 police officers were injured. There's been more than 150 people who they filed charges on assault on the police officers. Yet the Republicans, who are supposed to be tough on crime, don't want to investigate it.
No, that's not true. You're talking about the Capitol breach? You're talking about the Capitol breach?
Yeah.
Okay, no. There are multiple. Excuse me. You know this. You may not have a sense of humor. Your jokes may suck, but you're reasonably well informed. There are multiple federal investigations going on into Capitol breach. FBI is doing an investigation. Capitol Police have an investigation. There's other federal agencies that are also investigating. What what a congressional hearing is not an investigation. Congressional hearings, even when Republicans do them, is just showboating, so that they can get their their 5 minutes and look good on camera for campaign commercials. I never, even when Republicans are the majority, I don't follow congressional hearings. It's all showboating. There's no, that's not an investigation.
They're going to subpoena Chris Miller. They're going to subpoena Charles Flynn. Charles Flynn was one of the people responsible for the 3-hour delay. And so, and also you need to stop misrepresenting President Kennedy, because he did not instigate the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's a load of hogwash. You got a degree in history? Come on, you know better than that. He didn't instigate it. We didn't ask Russia to put the missiles in Florida. I mean, in Cuba.
Oh, and if the Russians were putting missiles in Florida, that would have been an act of war. Yeah, I think you need to study some history.
No, I meant to say 90 miles.
You said that you just said that the Russians put missiles in Florida?
No, I meant to say. Yeah, but
here you are saying that I am misspeaking and my knowledge is weak, and then you say something like that?
No, I meant to say 90 miles from Florida, they had missiles. That's what I meant.
No, the point I was making was this, Al, okay? They cut President Trump off of social media while he was the sitting president during a crisis. The crisis was what was going on at the Capitol. And he wasn't just cut off from social media, he was also cut off from television communications. And what the leftists decided is that they were going to cut him off like Hitler in the bunker in the final days of the Second World War. And what I was saying is if the television networks disagreed with the way that President Kennedy was handling the Cuban Missile Crisis, which, like, for example, the naval blockade, which escalated the tensions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, if the television networks thought that he was ratcheting things up on their air that could cause that could lead to a nuclear conflict, if they never would have dreamed of pulling the plug on him on television. But that is what they did to President Trump. They cut it in a time of crisis, national crisis, in a time of a national emergency. He was cut off completely from communicating during any means of communication other than cell phone communication, and that just cannot be allowed to stand. He was the sitting president of the United States.
He doesn't have to come out.
Oh, he does. Also, you want to decide? Okay, so we're gonna have Zuckerberg decide when the president of the United States is allowed to speak to the public. That's crazy. But that's the world they're comfortable living in. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. Steve will be joining us. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
Covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Attention seniors and those who care about them. This is Brian Craig. I'm in studio with Debbie from I Will Advisors. She has an incredible new service to tell you about called I Will Advocates. Debbie, what is I Will Advocates and how are you helping seniors?
Well, Brian, over the past few years of owning a Medicare insurance agency, we've learned that there's a huge need for Medicare advocacy, that a lot of people don't have a child or a spouse that can assist them with their medical needs, and that's where we step in.
There's a lot of things that seniors need help with. Prescriptions, doctor's appointments, things like this. How do you help them with that?
If you're having a problem at the doctor's office, having problems scheduling an appointment in a timely manner, we can step in. If you're having issues at the pharmacy, having problems refilling a prescription or feel that you're being mischarged for something, you can contact us and we will step in. Even if you're at the hospital and you feel like you're being neglected, we'll be there for you at a touch of a button, whether it's to call the nurse's station or assist in any other way.
So if someone's in the hospital, they feel they're not getting the care that they need, they haven't seen their doctor, they haven't seen their nurse, they can actually call you and you'll contact the hospital for them?
Absolutely. We act as your family. We'll step up, we'll call the nurse's station and ask for some assistance. If we can't get anything done there, we'll go to the higher levels.
Now, this is a service that you're offering. Now, they do not have to be an existing client of I Will Advisors to take advantage of this, right?
Oh, of course not. No, we're here for any Medicare client. We can assist in any way. We don't need to be your insurance agent. We're just here to help you with your medical needs.
This is an incredible opportunity for those of you who are Medicare recipients. Debbie at I Will Advocates will help you with your prescriptions. You'll set up doctor's appointments for them, including the primary care physician and specialist, right?
Of course. We'll assist in anything to help you find new doctors.
They'll help you with your medical billing. They'll help you with your insurance billing. If you feel you've been billed wrong by your doctor, they'll step in for that and even help you if you're in the hospital. Basically, what you're offering is a concierge service to senior citizens.
That's exactly it.
That's amazing. I've never heard of anything like this before. So how much does this cost?
Well, for just $20 a month, you will have the security of knowing that you have an experienced, compassionate advocate just a touch of a button away.
To learn more, call Debbie's office. The number 954-345-1214. 954-345-1214, or go online. You can sign up online at iwilladvocates.com. That's iwilladvocates.com.
Hi, my name is Tom Laporta, the owner of Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Restoration. We have been in the roofing and construction industry since 1982. We are state of Florida certified roofing and general contractors focusing on residential and commercial roofing, impact windows, and building restoration. The 2021 hurricane season is upon us. If you have noticed any water stains on your ceiling, or if your roof is older than 15 years, you will want to call us to come out and evaluate your roof. Our services run from minor repairs to complete new roof systems. We install every kind of roof, from regular asphalt shingles, clay or concrete tiles, standing metal seam, wood shakes, and slate tile systems. Call us at 954-604-4602 for a free home inspection and estimate. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we are back. It is, what time is it? 34 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So what's going on?
Getting ready for a big weekend, all kinds of excitement. And boy, that thing was a bust yesterday, that Trump meeting. I was expecting...
Oh, you're kidding, right? The Trump press conference was a bust? You're kidding.
Let's just put it this way. All day I spent trying to find an analysis of what had occurred and what it meant and the significance of it all. And I talk about undercovered.
Well, that doesn't mean it was a bust. It doesn't mean it was a bust.
And I expected to get somebody to take notice. Nobody took notice. By the way, I've got to get you. We got to switch you into a male hairdresser. Can't have you going.
Men do not have hairdressers, Steve. And I didn't get my hair cut. No, but men have barbers and maybe a hairstylist, but a hairdresser, that's for women. No, I got the manicure by the Asian ladies with my daughter. Yeah, but that's they yeah.
Go to the hairdresser.
Oh my goodness, the barber.
When I go to the hairdresser, you know Robert, you met Robert, you shot some.
Mm-hmm.
We did some. He's a very talented artist. He works on men, not women. And haircut now costs me about $50.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. Now, I go to a men's barber shop to get my hair cut.
What about your ears?
My ears? What do I...
Cells are usually $20 bucks.
It's all the way up.
Your ears?
My ears waxed and my nose waxed? I never even heard of such a thing. No, I've never heard of such a thing. My ears waxed and my nose waxed. What would I do that for?
So you don't have huge clumps of hair growing out of your nostril?
No. No, I don't. or my ears.
Robert has just started to offer these services, and they're really great.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like something like a troll would deal with. Hair, big growth of hair in the ears and nose. No, I don't have any of that. Oh my goodness.
We'll talk.
Oh my goodness. No, I don't have any hair growth like in my ears or nose like that.
But I'll get you a deal.
Well, I don't need that done. I don't need any ear waxing or nose waxing. That sounds...
It's good having hair growing out of your...
I don't have hair growing out of my ears and nose. No. No.
If you're out there...
I don't.
Call this poor boy up on the phone and tell him...
I'm on YouTube. People on YouTube, I'll show you my ears. I have in my nose. I'll show you my nostrils and everything. I'll get up close. I don't have anything like that going on, Steve. No, that's TMI. Oh my goodness. That's just too much TMI. Oh my goodness. No. I don't even get manicures. My daughter was getting hers done. So I said, well, let me get a manicure while I'm here with you. No. Do you get your back waxed too, Steve?
No.
Okay.
Her shoulders shaved.
Oh my goodness. You got all kinds of things going on. You sound like a millennial. One of these metrosexuals. I don't get any of that stuff done.
It's amazing.
Well, I guess I just, I don't have these problems. I don't know. That's a strange thing.
Kathy, about it.
I'm showing the people on YouTube now. Do I have hair on my nose and ears? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm showing that. I'm putting my nostrils up to the camera. You guys, do I need to get my nose waxed? Oh my goodness. No. Not with me.
New enhanced service.
Okay. I guess the ones with rainbow flags out front, maybe.
Let's get to, meanwhile, Rome is burning here, and we're talking about nose hair. Explain to me why, two things. Why yesterday was such a big deal with Trump, and number two, why, if it was such a big deal, did it get almost no coverage all day?
Well, because you were watching the wrong news, I guess. I was watching Newsmax TV all day, and that was the primary thing they discussed. You know what? Let me throw it out to the audience, because now some of you may not know this. Steve does not use the internet. Okay, Steve does not use the internet, so he doesn't have a big grasp of the internet. But he thinks that what happened yesterday with President Trump was a bust.
I have a small grasp of the internet.
Yeah. So maybe some of you could call in and explain to Steve why what happened yesterday was not just important, was historic, and is going to become the #1 issue on the Republican Party platform for the next 2 elections at least. So you guys, I'm going to give out the number, and you guys explain to Steve, because I'm a little, my mind's a little distracted thinking about all these globs of hair Steve's dealing with in the nose and the ears and all this stuff. But our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE 1, 888-465-2631. Toll-free call from anywhere, no matter where you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, 1-888-465-2631. Part of the thing with all of this, people getting banned from social media, or shadow banned, which means you're still on social media, but they set it up where no one can find you or see you. They only do this to conservatives. You never hear stories of Democrat politicians and Democrat activists, liberal activists en masse being banned from all of these things. It's exclusively done to Republicans, to conservatives.
How is what happened yesterday going to help get Donald Trump elected president?
I'm going to let callers tell you, because I'll let the callers explain it to you. All right, okay, our number again, 1-888-GO-CANE 1. But the main means of communication among people today are through these platforms. Okay? It's the main means of communication for individuals, for businesses, for activists, for political movements. The main means of communication today is through social media.
He couldn't do yesterday.
He can't use any of it. He's banned from all of it. He's banned from all of these platforms. And he's not alone. A lot of conservatives are banned. and shadow banned and things. Yes, he's banned from them all. He's banned from all of the social media platforms. All of these major outlets have banned him. Not only have they banned him, you can't even, they don't even care. They ban his speeches that he currently gives and other things. And it's not just him, it's conservatives all over the country. So, no, he cannot get on any of these outlets. He's been told he has a lifetime ban on some of them. All right, good morning. You're on the radio.
Brian, what's up? Vincent Wellington.
Yeah, Wellington.
Yeah, Steve, yeah, they definitely was a necessity on what Trump did yesterday. He's opening up the lawsuit for everybody to jump on. We could all kind of go in, and anybody that feels like they've been smited by the Facebook cronies, you get your chance to get in on the lawsuit as well.
Well, see, I'll tell you what, there were two things that happened. One during Trump's campaign in 2016 and another when he was president that really resulted in this happening. One, during the campaign against Hillary, I was watching the analysis with the CNN panel, and Van Jones was a part of it. And Van Jones said that Donald Trump, he said in the 1960 election, President Kennedy won because he understood how to use television. Nobody else running for president understood television before him, and that rode him to victory. And he said Trump knows how to use Twitter like Kennedy was a master of television, and that's why he's doing so well. And then after he was elected, President Trump gave a speech one day, and when he said something, I was like, oh my goodness, President Trump, it's over now. He said, I would not have gotten elected if it weren't for Twitter. Twitter got me elected. That's not vague. That's very specific because he had 50 million followers. And as soon as he said that, that's when I knew he was going to be gone from Twitter. I thought they would wait until he left office. I didn't realize they would do it while he was still the president. But they've cut, that's what did him in when he said that.
I get a kick out of Albert John calling in talking about there was 150 officers hurt that day.
Yeah, where were those officers that were hurt? 150? Oh, I don't even know they had 150 officers there.
There wasn't even 50 there, Brian, from people that seen it with their own eyes. It wasn't.
Well, Al has a vivid imagination.
You see, the thing you got to understand about Al, I used to give Al a really hard time, okay? I used to give Al a really hard time, and then I realized something about Al. And I'm not joking about this. He's mentally ill. He has delusions. I'm not kidding. No, he's mentally ill. He has delusions. Like, he thinks he lives in Washington and he's a power broker in Washington. He believes all these things are true, and I really don't argue with him like I used to.
Walter Mitty.
Or Rupert Pupkin in the basement doing the talk show and the king of comedy. But he's mentally ill and delusional. He believes his delusions are real. And I just can't batter a mental patient like that. I'm serious.
My question to you guys, and I'll let you go after this, Brian, it's more for you because you probably understand it better, but do you think that the hacking of Trump's platform and everybody else's platform, like Let's Be Frank and all these other, conservative platforms that are trying to roll out, do you believe that the static that they get and the issues that the hacking becomes is from Twitter and Facebook?
Well, the problem is, okay, now Mike Lindell has gone up, Frank's speech is online, but it's not online in the way that was envisioned by him. And the day that it went online, it got hacked. I was online making a profile on Frank's speech, and it got hacked. And you can't set up an account on Frank's speech. It's been hacked. And what has happened with these other platforms, Frank's speech, Getter, what's the other one I forgot? Parler. They cannot get the top tech people to work for them because they'll be blacklisted in the industry. So they have third-rate people working for them, which means that they're vulnerable to hacking. Steve, what the big tech people have done with these bans of conservatives, not just Trump, but conservatives from all of these platforms, would be like if you went back in the 70s and 80s and banned conservative politicians from having access to television advertisement or radio advertisement. They've cut them off from being able to communicate during the, and that's and it's all directed only towards Republicans. They don't do this to Democrats. But President Trump said yesterday, Hamas is on Twitter, and they're a terrorist organization that just attacked Israel a couple weeks ago with rockets again.
I hope it's ordered out of Arizona and everywhere.
Well, we'll see. All right, let's take one more call before we break. Good morning. You're on the radio. Yeah, you're on the air.
Companies are registered with the FCC. Isn't there regulations there that they broke when they don't give?
Well, it's not everyone's, like, you're not entitled to call us up on the radio and have total freedom to do whatever you want, right? Okay. What's happened with the tech companies, President Trump and his legal team talked about this yesterday. The First Amendment only stops the government from limiting your free speech. Your speech can be limited by me or any private business, and your First Amendment has not been violated. It's when the government does it, the federal government. And what they're saying is that these tech companies are working with the government to decide who can speak and who cannot speak, and they have evidence of this. And it's been going on for years, and that's different. Like when I had a liberal call me in the first hour, and he was upset that I wouldn't let him hijack the show. He says I'm violating his First Amendment. We're a private entity. This is not the government, and these social media giants are working with the government to control everything. I mean, look, and what information is allowed to be discussed. You're not even allowed to have conversations on these social media platforms on a lot of topics.
Rules that are, first of all, the rules don't kick in until Trump wins the lawsuit, right?
Well, there's no rules. We'll have to find out what the case. Yeah, there's no change until these cases go through the courts. Yeah, which is going to take years.
Years? Is it going to affect the next election?
Well, it's going to become the primary issue that's discussed. All right. Hey, listen, caller. Take care. Listen, I can't. I need to take our last break. We'll come back and we'll jump back into this. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number toll free 1-888-GO-CANE1. We'll be right back.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
It's here, the hot weather. It's in the mid-90s in the middle of the day, and that's what the actual temperature is. The heat index, much higher than that. That means your air conditioner is going to work harder and harder, driving up your electric bill. And on the line, we have Scott
Steve Kane Show.
from My Kilowatts, who's going to save you big money
Hello.
on your electric bill.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them how you're going to do it, Scott.
Hey, Brian. Well, we do it with the radiant barrier installation and making sure that none of your air conditioning ducts are leaking into your attic. But I have Rebecca on the line with me, who's a longtime Steve Kane listener, and we had the pleasure of going up and doing a whole attic package for her at her house on Wednesday of this week. And we put all new ducts in for radiant barrier and all new installation. And she just wants to tell you how her experience was.
Good morning. I wanted to let you know that this morning, first of all, the people that came out, his crew, were very, very polite. And they did the work. It's a very difficult job to go up in an attic, pull out all the old ducts, come in and put in all new ducts. It's extra additional ducts to make my system work better. I'm in the construction industry. I'm an architect. So I'm familiar with what the cost should be and how much time it takes to do everything. And let me tell you, I was very impressed. And my attic looks like a spaceship up there with all new duct. They took out the metal duct that was insulated and leaking on my ceiling, and they put in flex duct, which is what we use now in
Steve
the
Kane
industry.
Show.
But let me tell you, what I paid for the entire
What's your
package
name?
should have cost just to remove
Hold on.
the old ductwork and install new ductwork, and I got everything for less than what I thought.
Well, that's amazing. And when Scott from Cut My Kilowatts brings that radiant barrier into your attic, it pays for itself, because what it does, it cools off your ceiling, cools off your attic, keeps that hot Florida heat that's well over 100 degrees in your attic off of your air conditioning ducts, which means your air conditioner works less to keep your house cool and comfortable for you, which means you have lower electrical bills. It works. Listen, guys, give Scott at Cut My Kilowatts a call. His number's listed at SteveKaneShow.com, as is his website if you miss it. His number, which rings directly to him, 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500. That's Scott from Cut My Kilowatts.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for help.
All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Ocean Nathan.
Okay, go ahead. What's on your mind?
So, Trump made a statement that
Steve?
Steve Kane, he made a statement that he said this is probably going to be more than $1 trillion in damages because of what the social media companies did.
See, listen, all the social media companies are liberal, and the people that work for them are liberal, and they're hardcore liberal activists, and they don't think they're bad people, okay? Bad guys don't think they're bad guys typically, okay, like this. They think Trump and MAGA people and Republicans are Nazis and Klansmen, and what they're doing is stopping hate. That's their reality. They're wrong. And a lot of people are asking, well, what's the difference between, because radio stations and TV stations have FCC licenses. There's a big difference. What happened with the left, most radio stations in the early days were conservatives because they were owned by local business guys. And the government was, the Democrat government, it was Roosevelt, were upset that people had this new form of communication where they could communicate freely. So they came in with this, they declared the airwaves are public. And that's where they got this regulation over radio stations that led to that fairness doctrine thing that they got rid of back in the 80s. What's going on with the main form that people communicate with today is no longer the telephone, it's the internet. And what they have said is that if you don't agree with our liberal opinions, you can't communicate on it. Like PJ, our listener, PJ, who goes with us on our cruises, he called up earlier, PJ Gladnick from Newsbusters, just yesterday, he had something pulled down off the internet because it didn't fit in with the liberal political narrative on an issue that's going on right now. You know? Well, that's the hope. That's what the lawsuit's going to hopefully stop. You know, like Laura Loomer. Well, they haven't gone to court yet. They haven't even gone to court yet. You know, but a lot of this can be done legislatively if we take back the Congress and we get Trump back in the White House in 2024. You know, you know, it's if we take this is going to become. This issue is going to become in the next two elections what the wall was in 2016. It's going to be the primary issue of the Republican Party platform. And it can all be done legislatively without going to any courts. And you don't want to break up these companies because then you'll just have 20 companies instead of 3 that are all liberal. You know, like yeah, go ahead.
And then they will fight each other again. So if you do start all over, but the right needs to change their mindset. The right side, and like when the left went to victory, they say that was a great start, but there is still so much.
Okay, all right. I can't hardly hear you though because you're on a speakerphone. You got on the speakerphone for some reason all of a sudden. When you call in, don't use speakerphones. You gotta or Bluetooth. You gotta actually have the phone up to your ear and your mouth. Okay, you can't use a speakerphone or Bluetooth when you call us on the air. But right-wing, so-called right-wing groups are completely banished from the internet. Look at an example. Brandon Straka from the Walk Away movement. The Walk Away movement was a movement in the last election of Democrats who left the Democrat Party and became Republicans to support Trump. They had a huge online group with hundreds of thousands of members, and for no reason whatsoever, the tech giants took it off the internet because they didn't like the agenda, because what they did was they were putting videos up of why they left the Democrat Party and why they're voting for Donald Trump, and they just took it off, because it didn't agree with their liberal narrative, and they do this every day to people, and that's the way it is if Trump wins. Yeah. It will help in this election because it's going to be the main issue that the Republicans run on in the midterm elections. It's what, Ron DeSantis signed this order against the tech companies in Florida that they can't forbid political candidates who are running for office in Florida from being on social media. That's another thing they do. Laura Loomer, she ran for Congress. She's running for Congress again. And she's very popular and everything, but she's banned, like President Trump, from all social media. So she cannot even have a campaign social media account to run her campaign on, which is how campaigns are run today. I've never heard of Democrat candidates for Congress being banned from social media, regardless of what it is that they do. It's one-sided towards Republicans, and it's done on behalf of the Democrat Party and the liberal branches of the government. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Henry from Aventura. How you doing this morning?
Oh, hey, Henry. What's up?
My question to you is, how are we going to protect the vote?
Well, that's one of the problems right there, if you know what I mean. There's all these restrictions that you can't talk about. And, the thing with let's take our break for the top because it's 8 o'clock, and then I'll explain to you yesterday, Steve, okay? Because you don't have a grasp of it. Steve doesn't use the internet.
Recent things that we've been able to talk about.
No, I'll try to explain it to you in a way, but I can't. I mean, Listen, let's take our break. I'll come back. The callers have not been able to effectively explain anything here on this to Steve. I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a shot when we get back, all right? 1 hour to go, 2 down. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Steve is with us. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. Hour number 3 begins right now.
We've got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great work and the incredible prices at Dr. Gupta's Brighton Dental. Richie the bus driver called Steve Kane on the air and told him about his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good morning. I have to talk about Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and it went backwards in my mouth. My front top tooth. I put it back into the socket. It felt like it was falling out. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later. And I said, what am I going to do? The dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went to Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. I traveled 139 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Each way. Okay? The man sat and worked on my tooth for 2 hours, put a pen in it, put it back in place. I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything I want now. And the fact of the matter, this is what really was unbelievable. I was getting on the bus to go to the reception, okay, in New York City. He knew I was in New York. The phone rings. Who do you think's on the line?
Dr. Gupta.
Right. He wants to see if everything is going okay and if I'm in any pain. The guy is unbelievably wonderful. I
mean, thank you so much. I wouldn't have been able to eat. I wouldn't have been able to go. I would have looked like a pumpkin.
Everybody needs a great dentist, and of course, for you Steve Kane listeners, you have one, Dr. Gupta, and he's over there at Brighton Dental. He takes really good care of you. He's very conscientious. He's, dentistry is an art when you stop and you think about it. And Dr. Gupta certainly is an artist, and we're so pleased to have him with us.
Yeah, I just wanted them to know if you need a dentist, and the guy is so good at what he does, he's so gentle, and I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is top shelf, and I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in, but right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want. Incredible.
Take Richie the bus driver's advice and go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. Call 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. Hi, Brian Craig here. I'm in studio with my wife, Kathy, and she's here to tell you about her experience with the MyPillow mattress topper.
Well, as you know, Brian, I was waking up in pain almost every morning for years and years, and we had bought a new mattress not that long ago, but it still was not doing the trick. So I said to you, let's get the MyPillow mattress topper, and let's see if it helps or makes any kind of a difference. And I have to tell you, after sleeping on it just one night, I woke up, no pain, I felt incredible. It made a huge difference for me. And the pain has not returned.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Now go to MyPillow.com and order your MyPillow mattress topper and do what you
No, I don't pay $50 for a haircut. Steve does.
At checkout, Kane. And this is an incredible deal because with the promo code Kane, you will save 30% off the MyPillow mattress topper and get 2 free MyPillows. But you've got to use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It comes in every size too, from twin all the way up to California King. That's promo code Kane, Kane, at MyPillow.com.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables.
My wife calls me Brian. What else would she call me? Except when she's pissed off. She's got other names for when she's pissed off.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio.
You guys got to call in and help me explain this to Steve. Because I don't know if I got the energy.
That's 1-888 cocaine 1. And now.
All right. 5 minutes after 8, I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. Steve is the one man in America who has never been on the internet. No.
By the way, do we have any Trump events this week?
No, not that I know of. But everybody, and this big story of President Trump. Steve thinks it's a bust because he doesn't use the internet.
Simply based on the feedback from the phone calls I heard on talk radio yesterday, no one was talking about it. I wasn't listening.
Who were you listening to on radio yesterday?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know why they weren't talking about it, but this was... Well, first off, it's huge and historic that a former president has a major press conference, which has never happened before. No former president has ever had a major event before. I've never seen it. These tech companies are the primary way that people communicate today. It would be like...
A lot of what you're saying on talk radio, yes?
Well, because they were not talking about the news of the day, I guess. They can't, I guess. They have to wait a day to get... It's huge. What they have done is the equivalent of banning politicians of the past and from television and radio. Because Donald Trump, the primary form of communication today is not the telephone, it's the internet. People use everyone has an iPhone or an Android phone, right? Everybody, like I got my iPhone. What people use their phone for the least amount of time is as a phone. Hardly anyone uses their phone for a phone. It's all communicating through these social media companies. That's how everyone communicates. They do it on their phone, okay? You know, and I mean, I don't. The only people I talk to on my phone in the form of a phone are you and my wife and the occasional scam caller that's calling in. No one talks on the phone anymore. Okay, everyone does everything through social media now. All communications, and President Trump and many others have been completely banned from these things because of their political viewpoints. It's not. It's millions of people worldwide have been banned because they have a conservative viewpoint, and the tech companies have been working with the Democrat Party and the government to limit conservatives' outreach. The problem they have is, in the past, like I remember years ago, remember the gay Republicans, the log cabin Republican guy we used to have on, Andy Eddy. There was Andy. He called in a couple months ago. He's still around. Yeah. But we had this guy on. He was the leader. I almost said the head of, but you can't say that with the gay Republican. He was one of the leaders of the gay Republicans here in town, the log cabin Republicans. And he was on the thing, and he was talking about all these activist groups meetings that he goes to. And you know, he asked you, when do you go to? He said, I go to 8 activist meetings every month. How many groups do you go to? And you told him, and I told him, we don't go to any. We don't have time because we're working and we got a family, kids, you know. And conservatives were never effective activists because they're too busy to go to group meetings. And then in 2010, when the Obamacare thing started to happen, Obama set up all these local town hall meetings for members of Congress to speak to their constituents about how great it was to have Obamacare. And it was a disaster because conservatives were showing up at these meetings nationwide saying we don't want socialized health care. And they were organizing through Facebook. There was not a Twitter yet, just Facebook. They were organizing through Facebook groups. And the Democrats went into a panic because they had never dealt with an organized activist conservative group of people before through these Facebook groups. And Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House then too, and she came out and she says, Republicans, you need to get control of your people. You know, they were scared because they had never seen conservatives organized as activists before. Because they don't have time. The activism before these social media companies, Twitter and Facebook, you had to go to meetings like Andy Eddy with the log cabin Republicans, and conservatives never had time for that. And what social media has done is gotten conservative activism for the last 10 years has been growing and growing and growing, and with Trump it exploded, okay? And the Democrat, and it turned out that most people in this country are conservative. They finally realized this, and for the first time, there were huge. That's the Trump rallies, for example. Trump puts on a rally, announces it the day of, and 50, 60,000 people turn out. That's done through social media, done through the internet. So when they banned him from doing this, and they've banned many others. Okay, so what and they only do this towards Republicans. They're trying to stop the ability of conservatives to be able to be organized activists. And that's what this is all about. And it's always one-sided against conservatives only. They never do this to liberals. And that's what's going on here. And if they're allowed to continue, the whole movement will eventually die off because they control every aspect of the internet. Remember, a few months ago, Parler went online, and Amazon, who controlled their server, took them off the internet because they didn't like Parler because it was conservative. So you know, liberals control every aspect of the internet. They're working with the Democrats in the government to silence conservatives, stop us from networking, stop us from being activists, and boom, that's what they do. You know, and
I don't want to spend the rest of the show on this.
Oh, it's the biggest story in the country, in the world today.
I guess my question at this point comes down to why don't I hear more excitement? No, let's forget the talk radio
Well, I don't know what you were watching yesterday, but what I was watching, it's all they talked about.
Switch to the news, the television news. I was watching television news last night. This was...
What were you watching on TV? Which network? I was watching Newsmax. That's all. One America News. One America News. And what else?
And
Fox. Well, Fox, they hate Trump. That's why. And I'll tell you the thing about Fox. They didn't carry the full Trump speech. They carried about 5 minutes of it just so they could say they carried it. Okay? They didn't carry the whole press conference where everyone was explaining and the attorneys were coming out. They just carried enough so they could say, oh, we carried it. You know, trying to save face with the MAGA people that trick us to going over there. This is huge. And while it will take years to go through the court process, it's going to become the number one thing on the Republican Party platform in the midterm elections. Because Trump is backing all these different candidates, and they're very much into this issue. And it's going to bring them to victory, and he's going to run on it in 2024. And when he comes into the White House and we control the House and the Senate, those protections they have, that Section 230 protection they keep talking about, is going to be gone. And the reason that they have those protections is because Paul Ryan and Cheney and these Romney never-Trumpers wouldn't get rid of it. And we're going to have full equality now. You know, when this is done, it's what's going to get him elected in 2024 again, is this issue. This issue is probably the biggest, most important issue of the next two elections, bigger than immigration or anything else. Well, it's going to be what they're talking about. It's going to be the main issue that they run on in the midterm elections. You know, there'll be some court decisions between. I don't know how long it's going to take to get to the Supreme Court. Maybe years. They're not going to, because they're all sellouts. They're all political appointees. I don't know. Well, I don't know. They're going to federal court here in Florida, you know, and we'll get the first hearings there. But first, it's going to be the biggest class action lawsuit in the history of class actions because it's a worldwide suit. But this is what is going to be the defining issue in the next two elections. Are you with Trump on his fight against big tech or not? And it's going to be the biggest issue out there, trumping any other. Gun control, abortion, the border, the wall. This is bigger than all of them. And it's huge. And it's also kind of a bipartisan issue because a lot of people that aren't even involved in politics are upset at the way these things operate. All right, listen, we're going to take our break. Our number, 1-888-GO-CANE 1. 888-465-2631. And shame on Fox News. They totally exposed themselves. I saw Eric Bolling on Newsmax yesterday, and again, he was calling out, Fox News carried 5 minutes of it just so they could say they carried it. But Eric Bolling, he's doing a good job over at Newsmax. And Trump did an exclusive one-on-one interview with Newsmax after the press conference yesterday. Trump, you know, he has this enemies list, you know, and on that list is Fox. He's working to make Newsmax number one and unseat Fox News from this position that they're very arrogant with. That's why he's doing all these things with Newsmax. All right, our number, 1-888-GO-CANE 1. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
In 2022, MAGA Cruise is a go. Leaving January 21st on the Celebrity Equinox out of Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. Join Steve Kane and me, Brian Craig, for 9 nights cruising the Caribbean. We will stop in Grand Cayman Island, Bonaire, Curacao, and Aruba. Reserve your cabin right now and call Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. So you've been told you need a health test. What are you going to have to pay? Health tests can be very expensive. If you go to your doctor's office or one of the big labs, it can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had lab tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs' goal is to get you all the lab tests you need, save you money, and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, you never need an appointment, no doctor's order, or prescription needed either. You can walk right in and have have any of their thousands of lab tests done for just a fraction of the price the big labs or your doctor's office charge. Give them a call, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University
Steve Kane Show.
Bramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Any Lab Test Now
Steve
of
Kane
Coral
Show.
Springs, private and affordable lab testing. 954-906-5983.
Hi folks, Dr. Matez here, now with the BioStation West Delray. At BioStation West Delray, we continue to offer the highest level of experience and care you can find in the realm of hormone pellet and hormone replacement therapies. But that's just the start. We offer a full array of age management modalities, including state-of-the-art treatments for erectile dysfunction, sexual dysfunction in women, physical and sexual rejuvenation, and quite frankly, any sign or symptom of aging that you may have. And don't forget, we offer the complete array of all cosmetic modalities, including Botox, fillers, lasers, etc. Better energy, better sleep, better performance, and looks to die for. If this all sounds good to you, call us at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, 18 minutes after the hour, our number one, 888-GO-CANE-1. You're on the radio. What's your name? I got one. Yeah. Yeah, and? Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. You tell me. What do you have to say? Oh, he's turning up the radio. He's running out of words now. He's getting nervous. Yeah. Out of words? Out of material? Seems like you follow me a lot. You hang on my every word. You follow my life. You straight? You seem to have an obsession. I hope it doesn't translate into the realm of fantasizing. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Brian, good morning, Steve.
Agostino. How you doing, Agostino?
Augie, what's up?
All right, I'm trying to find out, do you think
No, they're not gonna concede. These guys, okay, a couple things about these tech giants. One, they feel that they're gods on top of Mount Olympus. That's one thing. So they're the richest people in history, and they feel they're above everything. That's one thing, okay? I mean, they're so rich, they make Trump look poor with his measly $10 billion. You know what I mean?
though, do you think they're going to make us pay for our Facebook or Twitter?
Oh, you mean to use it? I don't know. I don't even see the relevance of that. Why, are you worried? You would like to have... Well, everybody wants things for free. There's no doubt about it. I don't know. But there's not going to be any concessions with them in Trump because they're arrogant. And that's just the way of it. This is going to go on for years and years and years. But, you know, Trump has a way... He always knows what the most important issues are out there, right? The ones that everyone wants to get fixed, right? Like in 2016, it was the border issue, we had uncontrolled immigration. Now it's this. This is the biggest issue that has Americans upset. He's very much and you know, another thing about it is did you see the press conference live, Steve? It really shows you the difference between an awake guy and a president who's checked out in dementia. I mean, you know, they really are upset that Trump had this press conference yesterday because it shows Biden to look like he does. Sickly, incoherent, dementia suffering, and then you got this guy. And another thing I noticed when I was watching some of the analysis, they didn't get into this aspect of it, but I could tell it bugged them that he's not in a depression. Trump is always his best when he's down, you know? When he was having business troubles, that's when his business exploded after that, right? You know, and I think they're upset that he's not depressed, curled up in a fetal position in one of his golf resorts over not being in the White House right now. He looked great yesterday. I thought he looked great. He's lost weight. He looks fit, and he looks energized and ready to go. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Yeah. That's it? Yeah, that's all you got? Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. Oh, you know, we are on our countdown to the Steve Kane 2022 MAGA Cruise, which is at the end of January. You know, we didn't have a cruise last year because of COVID. Cruising's back. We're going to be on the Celebrity Equinox, which we went on a cruise on before, but since our last cruise, the Equinox has been completely remodeled. Even the furniture in the cabins is all new. Completely remodeled and redone and refitted. It is beautiful. And we're going to be on a 9-day MAGA cruise out of Fort Lauderdale. We leave on a Friday. We come back the following Sunday, and we got a whole bunch of stops. We're going to Bonaire, Curacao, Aruba, and the Cayman Islands. And we're going to have a great time. This is our largest group ever. We have never had a group as large as the group that are on this trip. And the official cruising is starting very soon. And as soon as that starts, the remaining cabins are going to book up, because the way that they're booking the ships right now, they're only booking them at about half capacity. So, you know, we're pretty much going to have the whole ship to ourselves almost with our group. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We have dinner together every night. We're planning shore excursions. We're planning on-board activities. Steve and I are going to do a stage show, which we've never done before, a stage show. And it's going to be pretty exciting. And you can join us. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. He's our travel agent that handles the cruises for us. His number, 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. We'll take our break and be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Steve Kane radio listeners love Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca.
Steve Kane Show. Hold on.
Anybody that needs a mechanic, I strongly recommend Eddie, and he is just the best thing to tap into this family as far as car maintenance goes. It's fixed. Bottom line, it's fixed, and the price was right.
Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca will never do a repair on your car that your car doesn't need. And their prices are low. Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca. Give them a call. 561-245.
No, we're not going to be stripping.
561-245-8101.
Hi guys, it's Dr. Matez. Now that I've joined the Biostation West Delray, we're not just about making you feel good, we're all about making you look good too. Our practitioners are well trained and experienced in the use of Botox, fillers, platelet-rich plasma, microneedling lasers, as well as any modality out there. We even have a Miami plastic surgeon available for the big jobs. We can now make you look good to match the way we make you feel. So if you want to feel good and look good, call us at the Biostation West Delray at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893. And for a limited time only, if you're a Steve Kane listener, 10% off all cosmetic services. And if you happen to be a Steve Kane cruiser, we're going to give you another 10%. That's 20% off all cosmetic services leading up to the Steve Kane cruise.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. Back to our phones, I think. I don't know. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hi, Steve. How you doing? Just Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that, Steve. No, only thing I was just saying to you guys real quick. Steve, that's a big major thing for Donald Trump to start his own platform, because here's the thing.
Only thing he has to do, whatever he has to do, he has to keep himself relevant. That social media, that's like a make or break deal.
Mm-hmm.
Keep himself relevant on that social media. That's going to crack down a lot of the leftist mainstream media, because that's the major thing. That's the major thing that they're trying to go after, trying to ban all the conservative voices on all these platforms. That everybody really just has to just full throttle it. All the conservatives and patriots just have to full throttle it. Behind Donald Trump. This is the way we're going to get it ahead of the 22 election and the 2020 election. Hopefully takes care of what happened in the 2020 election. You know what I mean? Everything will just blend in together. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, when he was cut off, when he was banned from everything, he was still the president. There was a crisis going on in the nation's capital, and even television cut him off. Neil Cavuto would not air President Trump speaking because he said he might cause an insurrection at any moment while he was still president. And this just cannot be allowed to stand.
I want to say this on this note. I said, since they are like that, they better keep that. Cities and states last year, because that's what I look at.
Well, last year it's been forgotten, but the Antifa attacked the White House last year. They attacked Republicans leaving the Republican nomination event for the convention at the White House. And I remember I was watching one of the women on Fox. She was talking about she jogs every morning through D.C., and she was talking about how the streets in the neighborhood of the White House were all boarded up, and the businesses and everything was all burned up inside and boarded up, and they're not even showing it on television. Antifa had been attacking and destroying Washington for months, not just cities around the country, and no one put it on television because they're liberals, and it was and look at what happened when.
Now that they will be able to put something like that on top.
Well, when the Republican baseball players got shot up, Steve Scalise, he was shot. Steve Scalise was shot by a Bernie Sanders campaign worker. Okay, and Bernie Sanders wasn't held responsible for that. Bernie Sanders wasn't banned from social media or anything else because one of his people tried to assassinate the entire Republican baseball team. And he even made sure, he even went down before he started shooting to make sure the Republicans were the ones he was going to be shooting. He went and checked to make sure who was who. And if and he shot Steve Scalise almost to death. This Bernie Sanders supporter. These people, most of them were Trump supporters, no doubt about it in the breach. Not all, but a lot of them were. They had no weapons. The only person killed was a Trump supporter, Ashley Babbitt. Why should Trump get all this punishment for what supporters of his were involved in when Bernie Sanders guys shot up the whole Republican baseball team? And immediately the media went and cleared him and said it's got nothing to do with Senator Sanders. This is just a rogue campaign worker. There's this double standard has got to stop.
I think it starts by with Donald Trump is doing right now, that in all of us in the right direction. But you guys just have a good one.
You too. Thank you. There's a story in Fox about this thing in Miami, the Surfside collapse. First responders at condo disaster site are told to go home but refuse to leave as the rescue turns into recovery. Well, I didn't need a press conference from the camera-hungry mayor to tell me that it's recovery. And when they knocked down the other tower on the site, I think you could assume there was no one left. But this Surfside collapse, they blew it down there. And what's going to happen, what's going on with these, the first few days, they weren't doing anything, hardly. They should have been picking up rocks and rubble from the moment it happened, like in Oklahoma City, and pulling people out. It didn't look that way to me. And, a press conference doesn't lift concrete off of a person. I saw politicians out there jabbing away. It did to me. I mean, you know, when I went down there a couple Saturdays ago, I was some of this afterwards on the show. I thought when I went down there, when I parked a couple miles away and walked because I thought I wouldn't be able to get near the place because of the emergency and the cleanup and everything. And when I got on the street where the building collapse was, I thought I was on the wrong street. I got out my phone and looked up the address again on the map because because there was so little activity. There were I didn't see any trucks driving away with rubble or debris or concrete or anything. I didn't see much of anything. You know, I saw some people going to Pilates class and walking their dogs is about all. And what I saw on TV was a lot of guys that looked like they were sitting around to me. And I went online. It was very creepy, very strange what I saw down there. And I went online and I looked up the Oklahoma City event. And immediately after the explosion, the first responders were out there picking up concrete off the ground looking for people. What I saw down there in Miami was much different. And, you know, what's going on, I think, with these first responders that are refusing to leave, I think that there's a lot of, they're dealing with a lot of emotion because they feel there's guilt. There's guilt. And what's going to happen, you know, I noticed the mayor that's been giving the press conferences, the lady is not the mayor of Surfside. She's the Dade County mayor. Okay? The Surfside mayor stopped leading the press conferences a long time ago. And I think he saw the writing on the wall, and he's been letting her lead the press conferences because, you know, if you get the glory, you're going to get the blame. He's letting her go out there to get all the blame for it. But there's going to be an investigation into the response on that building, and they're going to probably find out that the government officials down there that are waiting around for their press conferences all the time did some things that caused a slowdown of what was going on in the cleanup. When I remember when 9/11 happened, people on the street, because the fire department, they were gone. They were all in the building. They were dead, right? The firemen. There were no fire. The first responders were mostly dead. And just regular people around the streets were picking up concrete, you know, and looking for people under the rubble. And at Surfside, I know they were digging trenches and they went into the parking garage. But in that one area where the collapse was at, where the floors were kind of like on top of one another, I saw them about a few days ago start to have a line of people, you know, pulling stuff up off the ground, but they weren't doing that right after. And I think it's a bad look. I think, you know, I don't know. It's like they wrote all those people off as dead and unrecoverable. You know, I don't think the way they handled things down in Surfside was right at all. And when all this calms down, and the families are pissed. The families have been saying this, not me. The families have been saying this immediately. Why aren't they doing anything? Why aren't they digging people out? You know, and it was so bad that they drove the families over there a few days ago to look, we're working. We promise you we're working. And you know, it was screwed up down there. The whole cleanup process, a total screw up. And the lady mayor will probably take the heat because she's doing all the press conferences. She's been the front person for the whole thing. But no. And the reason they won't leave is I think they have guilt that they didn't rescue people. You know? Well, I remember they brought in this special team they said was from the unit that cleaned up Oklahoma City. Well, it wasn't the same guys because that was back in '95. These are younger guys. They were, you know, maybe not even been alive during Oklahoma City. And I saw one of them sitting in a chair out in the parking lot. You know, I didn't see anyone sitting around in chairs in Oklahoma City or at Ground Zero. I've never seen. No, I think they screwed up that cleanup down there. I'm sorry. I don't know who. You know, I don't know if it was the first responders or the politicians, but I didn't see the kind of emergency type cleanup situations that I saw at 9/11 or at Oklahoma City. Good morning. Good morning. You're on the air. Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Isaac. Go ahead.
Hey, I just want to say that, God, I feel so badly for the families of that condo that collapsed. Just like you're saying, these first responders should have been pulling rubble immediately. This is all a complete show, a straight movie, how they bring their family members to the actual death site while they don't look for them. That's insane.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the people that live in that neighborhood are very weird people. You know, I went down there thanks for the call. I went down there the weekend before last. You guys, I was telling, I made a YouTube video. And Steve, the people in the neighborhood on the street looked like they could give a damn. They looked like they were bothered about some roadblocks. They were walking dogs and bike riding and jogging like it was a normal day. And when I went down there, what I thought I was I didn't think I'd be able to get right up to the site. I thought there would be, you know, a police line somewhere. And I was expecting people to be up at the rope line praying, upset. Nothing. It was like, you know, walking my dog, going to Pilates, going shopping. And then there's a mall down the street that I forgot the name of it. You know, the Bow Harbor Shops, that real uppity mall, that very well-to-do mall down there, right down the street from the building. That's where I parked. And I got there before the mall opened. I left, the mall was open, and they were all sitting there having lunch and mimosas and everything else, and sitting at the bar. And I'm like, there's a grave site down the street. And I went to the beach side of the building, and there's people out there on the beach on vacation like it's a normal Saturday on the beach. While there's they're laying out to catch some rays. When they're, I didn't see people doing that in New York after 9/11 or Oklahoma City after it was the people down there in Surfside are very strange. They're just very weird. It was like no emotion.
We're in shock.
So you go and walk your dog and go to yoga class and ride your bike like there's nothing wrong, you know?
What are you going to do? First of all, the scene was from afar, which is how I was watching it. It appeared to be very dangerous. You couldn't just walk. I'm
talking about the street. I was on. I got a couple blocks away, but on the street itself, okay, on the street itself, there was a police roadblock you couldn't go by unless you lived closer. Like the building next door and stuff. So that's as close as I could get because I didn't have ID. And the people that are down on that side, the buildings that were next door that were walking out, it was like a normal Saturday for them. That was inconvenienced because of the police roadblocks. I've never seen anything like it. I remember on 9/11, you got people praying, you got people crying, you've got members of the press. What's going on? I didn't see anything. It was really creepy, very weird, and pretty shocking. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Oh, hey, Attorney Barry Siegel. How you doing, Barry?
How are you?
Great.
Yeah, great. We've got the countdown to Attorney Barry Siegel's first post-pandemic estate planning workshop is coming up Tuesday, July 20th at the South County Civic Center in Delray. And can you tell people what they can expect at the workshop, Barry?
We are going to be covering estate planning, everything you need to know about living trust, probate avoidance, how to make sure that you have an estate plan that's going to work, making sure that you leave the assets to your family and it stays in your family, doesn't end up going to unintended heirs such as in-laws, and we will touch on making sure you protect your assets from the cost of long-term care as well. So we'll be covering a lot of things, all the important healthcare documents, powers of attorney, everything you really need to know to make sure that you have a plan in place covering you and your loved ones.
Yeah, and of course, Attorney Barry Siegel will be there. It's his workshop with his staff, and you can ask questions while you're there. Now, listen, seating is limited, so it's a free event, totally free, but you do need to call ahead to reserve your seat. It's at the South County Civic Center in Delray, Tuesday, July 20th at 10 a.m. So you can call Barry's office, reserve your seat, just tell him you're going to be there, and if you need directions, better than that, they'll give you the detailed directions over the phone. Here's the number, 855-FLA-ESTATE, 352-3782. All right, we'll finish out the week tomorrow, Barry. All right, take care, take care. Yeah, so, eventually the truth about what happened down there is going to come out, and it's not going to be pretty. It's just not, And they'll probably try to blame everything on Ron DeSantis because he's so popular and, and everything else. But this is a Dade County issue, and, Dade County is what Dade County is. All right, listen, we'll take our break. When we come back, it'll be time for the Gold Report. Our number, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net. At noon weekdays, turn your radio to Richard Pearl on Politics. Unfiltered, unapologetic, always controversial. Richard Pearl tells it like it is. No topic is off limits. This is talk radio like it should be. You've known him as a master of nutraceuticals. Now, listen to Richard Pearl as you've never heard him before. Richard Pearl on Politics. High noon weekdays on this radio station. Be there. Hi, Brian Craig here. I'm in studio with my wife, Kathy, and she's here to tell you about her experience with the MyPillow mattress topper.
Well, as you know, Brian, I was waking up in pain almost every morning for years and years, and we had bought a new mattress not that long ago, but it still was not doing the trick. So I said to you, let's get the MyPillow mattress topper, and let's see if it helps or makes any kind of a difference. And I have to tell you, after sleeping on it just one night, I woke up no pain. I felt incredible. It made a huge, huge difference for me. And the pain has not returned.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
Hello?
Go to mypillow.com and order your
Hello?
MyPillow mattress topper.
Okay, got you. Good
What
one.
Kathy and I did. Use the promo code KANE at checkout. KANE. And this is an incredible deal because with the promo code KANE, you will save 30% off the MyPillow mattress topper and get 2 free MyPillows. But you've got to use the promo code KANE at checkout. KANE. It comes in every size too, from twin all the way up to California King. That's promo code KANE, KANE, at mypillow.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWN.
We're back. This is the moment everybody waits for each day on the Steve Kane Show. Some people refer to it as the high point of the Steve Kane Show each day. Of course, we're talking about the Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman of William Youngerman Inc. William, one of the world's leading experts when it comes to the precious metals. He has been advising clients on trends and movements in the precious metals markets for over 50 years now. Believe you me, he knows his stuff, and I hope through the years that he's been with us, through those years you've managed to get involved in all the excitement, which is the collection of the precious metals. How is it looking today, William?
Gold still locked in a trading range, Steve. We've been in that range for a while now, 1790 to about 1820, and overnight we saw gold trading in that similar range, 1795 on the low side and $1,819 this morning on the high side. Yesterday, gold managed to close up $5 at $1,796.70 the ounce, while silver has been lagging markets and was down 35 to $26.11. Platinum was down $5, closing out the day at $1,085, and palladium was down $27 at $2,730. This morning, as I said, similar action. We've got gold being the main commodity that's been moving or trying to move higher, with gold up $14.10 this morning at $1,817.50 the ounce. Again, we've seen this action pretty much every morning so far this week, with gold domestic bringing in pulling back from the afternoon.
Absolutely, and you can stop in William Youngerman, located right here in Boca. The address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca Raton, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, which is immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com, and you can call them at 1-800-327-5010. 800-327-5010. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. Okay, and I'll tell you another thing too, though, about the press in the building. See, you know, the media today, whether it's the national political media or the local media, we don't have journalists anymore. You know, like when I went down there, I walked by, and this is on my YouTube video, you guys can see. I walked by the media row where the media are at. They're about a mile away from the site. And the reporters, the on-air reporters, were all sitting in their cars with the air conditioning on, making sure their hair and makeup's okay and not getting messed up in the hot Florida heat and humidity. And all they're waiting for is the press conference, not to get the press release and regurgitate a press release as news. The reporters don't even know how to get stories anymore. You know, they're so programmed to work for the government, like CNN works for the Democrat government and all these things. They don't even know how to cover a story anymore, you know? And what's going on down there with the media in Miami, or you have these reporters waiting for press releases from the mayor for her press conference. That's what the DC and New York media do with the politics. They just wait for the official line from Psaki and the rest, and most of them, they don't even know how to ask a question or report anymore. Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name? No, it has not. See, it's what we're dealing with here. Oh my gosh. 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. By the way, I just got a text from Ian, our travel agent, and the celebrity ships have begun. Some of them have already begun sailing again. So you want to call, because these are going to book up quick. I'm telling you, as soon as... Oh, and did I tell you guys the drinks are included? Oh yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing, Steve. Can't go without included drinks. Oh my gosh, I know. That's why I drink too much on these cruises, because you don't have to pay for anything. You know, when I'm at a regular bar and I got to pay for the drinks, you know, there's a limit on what I'll drink because I got to pay for each one. When I'm on the cruise, I got the drink package. I don't have to pay for anything. You know, you can't help but have too much. You know. But, you know, you're going to find, Steve, this class action lawsuit that Trump has going on against big tech is going to be the #1 main issue that everyone's talking about. And one of the things that's most revealing about it is immediately the Democrats and the left come out and attack Trump and defend the tech companies, which shows you that the Democrats, who claim to be the party working against these big corporations and big businesses, really are the party of big business, right? The Republicans are the ones fighting the biggest companies on the planet, and the Democrats are advocating for the biggest companies on the planet. It really exposed them yesterday, and I was pretty impressed with Trump's legal team. You know, he got some real lawyers from like when he was, yeah, yeah, and Pam Bondi, our old guest, she's part of it. She was at the press conference yesterday. Yep. Yeah, well, I like Pam Bondi a lot. The thing about Pam Bondi is, my wife, because I say this all the time, she's much better looking in person. I don't know what it is about her, but in person, Pam Bondi looks much different than she does on TV. She looks better in I don't know why. She looks better in person than she does on. Not that she looks bad on TV, Pam Bondi, but she looks better in person. I don't know what. And she's very skinny. I saw her and Matt Gaetz at the Trump rally, and her and Matt Gaetz are the two skinniest people I've ever seen. Especially Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz in person. If any of you have ever seen Matt Gaetz in person, you know what I'm talking about. He's a skinny little guy with a tiny body, Matt Gaetz, with this massive head. And it's very weird. I mean, his head is massive. It's one of the biggest. And Pam Bondi, she was with Matt Gaetz, and I saw, her legs are about as big around as I don't know. They're the skinniest legs you've ever seen. I don't know what it is with these two. They're the two. I guess they don't eat carbs, you know. But it's just they're the two skinniest people. All right. It's it's almost time for the show to end already. I can't believe the show has flown by today. Our number 1-888-GO-CANE 1-465-2631. I just saw on CNN's website they said Haiti is in chaos because of the assassination of their president. Isn't Haiti always in chaos? I mean, it's an anarchy already.
Yes. Not like assassinating the...
I don't know.
Or is it?
I don't, it's hard to understand. I don't know. Well, let's check in with Richard Pearl, whose show Richard Pearl on Politics is on our radio stations weekdays at noon. Hey, Richard Pearl, what's up? It is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There, if you go through the whole planet, Israel is like basically the only place where and parts of Africa where indigenous people actually live. No people are indigenous except the Jews and Africans. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. But they pick on us because we got all the money. That's why. Now, Richard Pearl's show, Richard Pearl on Politics, is on our radio stations at noon. You can also listen to his program on the iHeartRadio app and the TuneIn app. Search for him by using our station call letters, WWNN. 2 W's and 2 N's on those apps, weekdays at noon. His store, Simply Natural, is located in Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. Open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9 p.m., and the number over there, 954-741-4045. All right, Richard Pearl, have a great show. We'll talk tomorrow. All right, take care. And that's it for us. We are out of time. Yes. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video. If you're not, subscribe. All right, I got to run. I'll see you later. Thanks.